Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
I need to talk a little sports with you, Ags. David Nuño here with TexAgs Radio. Billy Liucci here on TexAgs Radio. Olin Buchanan.
Make a mistake. We're not going anywhere. This is going to be a great program, and we're building it into a great program.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
Do you realize everybody knows who you are right now?
I stand by what we do and how we do it.
Schools are like, we're freaking Texas A&M, man. Like,
that's about as pretty a throw-catch combo as there is.
I saw the safety roll, the slot fade. I knew where I needed to put the ball.
You had no other option but one hand at that point.
Yeah, man, 50-50 ball, I got to come down with it.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So I think it's more like Taggett and what was the other dude's name in 48 Hours, OB? Because you just made a comparison before the show started. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. You said that in our group, I'm more the Marty and you're more the McGee.
Yeah.
And I think we're more like Taggett. No, not Taggett.
Taggart.
No, that's from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about 48 Hours. No, not Rosewood. What's his name in 48 Hours? You've seen 48 Hours, right?
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. You're more the Nick Nolte, and I'm more the
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Okay. I like that, actually. I like that Nick Nolte character in that movie.
He was great.
Yeah, he really was.
And I liked Eddie Murphy.
It was probably the peak of Nick Nolte's career before the downfall.
Did you ever watch the movie Blue Chips afterwards?
Yeah.
Or the movie Warrior?
I don't know if I saw Warrior.
Warrior's fantastic. It's like you'll probably roll your eyes.
I saw the Warriors.
Warrior is
I'm out to play.
It's basically a Rocky for an MMA fighter.
Oh, okay.
With Tom Hardy. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with Tom Hardy.
I know who he is.
Yeah. So anyway, I just started thinking like people can text in on the text line 979-693-1150 if OB and I were two characters that are out there. Marty McGee was the first one. I think the 48 Hours crew. Who else?
I'm Oscar. You're Felix.
What was the movie Olympia Dukakis was in? She had a bunch of girlfriends. You're more like Olympia Dukakis.
Was that the Still Magnolias?
Yes.
Yeah. You keep calling me that, and you're going to be more like the Julia Roberts character who died.
Oh, I forgot about how she died. Let's move on. Good morning, buddy. How you been?
I'm great. A little bit melancholy. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Because, heading to Memphis tonight.
Yep.
And you're not going.
First trip since I've been at TexAgs, not going. Got some family stuff I'm taking care of. I'll still do the post-game wrap. I'll be watching every second of the game, but I got some stuff to take care of here in town. So,
yeah, I get it. But it's just more fun when the
crew's together. We get into
when
trouble.
the band's together.
What's been our best road trip?
I'm Jake. You're Elwood. Our best road trip.
Miami, right? Got to be Miami.
We weren't hanging that much together in Miami.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of my stuff with my brother.
You should.
We went to dinner. And we went to dinner twice.
Yeah, I enjoyed the place you took us after the game in Miami.
What's another good one? Dallas is always fun. We don't actually do anything in Dallas, so we just do the game.
Because here's what the problem with that is. I have a hard time separating what we do from the game.
Right.
And all the games have been, somewhat disappointing, even when they won in
Tennessee
Denver.
Tennessee was good. We went to that cool seafood place on the water. That was good.
In Chattanooga, yeah. Jamie out-ordered us. She got the shrimp wrap, and it was the best thing there.
Yep.
I would say Tennessee, but remember how the arduous journey to find our hotel.
Yeah, or the one time we were almost kidnapped. Was that?
In Mississippi.
Was that the Ole Miss game?
You know what? I'll tell you one. I think it was our best trip was Georgia, on the way to Auburn. Remember we found that little town outside of Atlanta with the great restaurant, and it took some work.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, now you may not like it as much because I think they messed up your order.
It's all right. It was good.
I think that would be my and I, if the Aggies win tomorrow,
then I don't
this will
go
make this a great trip.
If the Aggies win tomorrow, do I get to go to a road trip ever again?
Oh, of course. You can't. I'm not superstitious that way.
Hey, so I don't want to make this about Lane Kiffin, and I think there's been enough of the rivalry. But I missed a tweet from him that was pretty good trolling on Halloween Day. Did you see the?
I did not.
Okay, Nick, do you have that tweet by any chance up? He ats Bobby Petrino. Just another reminder that play calling in football is one of the most difficult art forms on earth. If you find an elite play caller, do everything possible to keep them around. They are rare indeed. Some people just see things differently. Visions and decisions. He's tapping Bobby Petrino, like letting him know, buddy, they're not letting you work. And true or not, he is a master troller.
He is. He's just. I think he's baiting Jimbo. Don't you?
Yeah. What? They're not going to talk pregame again, right? It's going to be second straight year that they don't talk, right?
Of course not.
You have something you want to say?
No. I'll tell you off air.
Okay. Oh, here's one on the air. John and Ponch from Chips.
Yeah, well, you're obviously
Poncharelli?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, so I guess props to Lane Kiffin for making it funny, because sometimes he kind of annoys me. That one was kind of funny to me.
I have no issue with it.
Time to run our mouths. 3 things we want to see, brought to you by the Brazos Running Company, your local Aggie-owned specialty running store where you can find Brooks on Hoka shoes, located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. OB, do you want me to start or do you want to start?
I'll start because I think we're going to have a lot of the same here.
Yep.
I want to see really good, strong, just stingy run defense in particular.
Okay.
I want to see pass protection. Just the best pass protection all year. There are plays to be made against that secondary. You give your quarterback and those receivers some time to get through their just through the plays and everything, and there's big plays to be made. I'm thinking Aniyah Smith at the end of the first half last week.
Yep. Okay.
And then I want to see, for God's sakes, I want to see a spy on Jackson Dart.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you got to pressure him, but I know you're going to do that. You pressure everybody, but you've got to be aware that guy can escape, and if he escapes, have Bryce Anderson or Edgerrin Cooper or whoever waiting on him to keep him from – if he gets away from that pass rush, to keep him from making a big play.
I like your 3. I'm going to go in a little different direction.
Okay, let's hear it.
Quicker pass play, right? Not play calling, I should say. Not plays that take a while to develop. You know your quarterback holds on to the ball a little bit. You know you've got an offensive line that did okay last week. Let's have short plays that develop, which will later open on the longer plays, short pass plays.
Okay.
All right. Number 2. Free points. No free points for them and free points for Texas A&M. Special teams, pick 6. You can't give any of those out.
Can't do it.
These games have been coming down to one possession. But you, my friend, who struggled, not you, with scoring points, let's try to get some free points.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think I'm more like Jimbo and you're more like Lane.
I'm more of a troll?
Yeah, no, you're more of a Lane guy, tall, I don't know. You're just more of a Lane guy. I'm thinking more of a Jimbo guy, but go on.
At least I'm not Lincoln Riley. All right, and then number 3.
Can you make a brisket?
No.
Okay.
No, that's why.
Neither can he. Yeah. But anyway, go on.
Bookend, okay? We know this team can get off to a fast start. Can we get a fast start and a dominant finish? Bookend the game. Not just one half. I would love 4 straight quarters, but I'll take your first quarter and your last quarter as your best quarters.
I got to disagree with you on that, because if you look at the game last year, it was kind of that way. It was the guts in between that
hurt. Look, I'm not saying have terrible second and third quarters. I'm just saying
I just put together a complete 60 minutes.
But score in the second half.
Well, that's part of a complete 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm with you, though. Finish strong, start fast.
Start fast to get the crowd, whatever, the 11 a.m. crowd out of it, right?
Yeah.
And then, do what Jimbo's team did 20 years ago in 2020. Be dominant in the fourth quarter.
The Ole Miss fan base, you know what? They strike me as like LSU's very abusive, but I think of LSU as kind of the fat drunk guy.
Yeah.
And the Ole Miss is kind of like the nerdy bookworm that's just, that he's the Ole Miss guy, and I'm generalizing, of course, is the keyboard warrior.
There's a lot of those I know,
Yeah.
or don't know, I should say.
Like their coach, kind of.
Yeah, he is a keyboard warrior. So I'm going to read this text, and we'll get to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center in a minute. But Mike in Deer Park says, nice Ole Miss shirt, Nuño. I think your blue is more Ole Miss than mine.
Is this blue?
That's blue, buddy. Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was black.
No, it's blue.
Okay.
It is 100% blue.
Well, it's not game day.
No. And I don't coordinate for the game. Billy wore a bluish thing yesterday on Ask Liucci.
I told you, like, my first year, it was really cold, and I put on a sweater. I didn't even think about the sweater was blue, 2012, and I got caught so much hell for that. And they kept, you're wearing a blue sweater. I'm saying, I'm wearing a warm sweater.
A warm sweater.
And the Aggies won. Swope in the corner.
Well, you know what?
And then I thought, was it Otis Jacobs with the interception that nailed it down? People remind me. Somebody don't know.
Who was it that had that?
Because, Swope had the touchdown catch in the corner. They gave him the lead. But then Ole Miss started driving toward the end. And then I think, was it Otis Jacobs with the interception that ended it?
I don't remember. All right, let's do this. Let's go around the room and say hello to the people out there. We go behind the glass and say hi to Nick Savage, who is the director extraordinaire. Nick, good morning.
Good morning, y'all.
How are you, buddy?
I am great. David, if I can kind of take what you said and run with it a little bit, but I mentioned it to you yesterday. I want to see a fast start, and they've kind of, in SEC play at least, kind of hit or miss in some instances. They've scored 2 opening drive touchdowns.
Tony Hurd. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah. He came up on Ask Liucci yesterday. It took me a second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anyways, yeah, two opening drive touchdowns. They've turned it over on downs once. They've punted it once, and they've scored a field goal. So kind of mixed results. So I'd like to see them go out, score a touchdown on that opening drive, and on their first, defensive opportunity, go out and get a stop.
Go get it. Look, as OB said so eloquently, just play a complete game in every facet of the game. This game should be personal. You guys should have had a fantastic week focused on the job at hand. And, coaching staff should be plugged in as much as they've ever been. Players. This is a big one for where this program goes.
And you know what? Every streak, delightful or dubious, ends.
Yep.
In the dubious one in Oxford, Mississippi. Tomorrow.
Let's go do it.
End it. It's over.
Is it?
It ain't over till we say it's over.
Are you predicting? Well, don't tell me what you're predicting yet. We'll do that during the pick six.
All right.
But it sounds like you're predicting a victory.
Isn't that what Michael Corleone at the end of
which one?
The Godfather.
Godfather 1?
Yeah, when she tells
Didn't they start
him,
kissing his hand at the end of part 1?
Well, maybe not the very end. His wife tells him, they're having an argument.
K.
He goes, over. Oh, yeah. What is it about people like K?
K. Nagley, K. Corleone.
K.
I have this conspiracy that Talia Shire, by the way, ruins families. She made Rocky she almost ruined the whole Corleone family. And Kay joined her.
Women.
No, not women. Those two. I was not a big fan of Kay Corleone. And I'm sure at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, Hannah has no idea what we're talking about. Hello, Hannah.
Hi, guys. No idea what y'all are talking about, but I'm with OB with full-blown obliteration. Just gone with the Rebels,
Gone with the Rebels.
From
That streak will be gone with the win.
That's right.
Let's do it. What do you have for us this morning, Kay? Not Kay, Hannah.
No, not a K. But some other things going on around Aggieland this week. Also, again, not K, not doing around Aggieland Social Center. But soccer lost to Georgia on Thursday. They lost 2-3.
Late
Boom.
goal in OT. Yep, unfortunate.
That's right. But the NCAA tournament's coming up. It starts November 10th, and so they'll still be going out there. Volleyball plays Alabama tonight at 6:30. So they're tied for 6th in the lead right now. They have a 6-5 record. And so they're entering their last month of regular season, and that means that everyone needs to pack Reed, get there, see the Jamie Morrison effect, and see volleyball turn it back around for this season,
Yeah. I think I'm going to stop by that. And I think there's a swimming competition going on as well. So I got a lot of stuff. What else do you have for us?
Basketball is coming up. They're playing A&M Commerce Game 1 Monday at Reed. They're playing at 7, and then women's play Corpus Christi, or A&M Corpus Christi, at Reed on the 9th, which is this Thursday. So, again, pack and Reed, just like camp out at Reed. Stay at Reed, have some time there, watch volleyball and basketball, And then softball plays their last fall exhibition against TWU tomorrow at 6. And equestrian, thank you, OB.
You almost forgot to do it, bro.
Almost did.
I was trying to warn you. I look forward to it every Friday. They are going up against number 7 South Carolina right now, actually. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
All right, appreciate you very much. Thank you. All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, we got to get into the matchups thanks to our friends at Bach Realty, so we'll do that. But before we do that, OB,
Yeah.
¿Tienes hambre?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Hey, man.
No? Let's try again.
You the man.
No. ¿Tienes? Do you?
Do you
Have hunger?
Oh.
Do you have hunger?
Yes, I'm hungry almost all the time.
I believe one of our last road trips, it might have been our last road trip. No, second to last road trip. We stopped at Fargo's on the way out.
We did.
Yeah,
we sure did.
That was for Arlington.
That was a Thursday. So we had pork chops. But if we stopped on Friday, I would have gone for not just seafood, but the 4 seafood, the catfish,
Crunchy?
the coleslaw.
Oh,
always said the corn and the crunchy hush puppies.
Do you have a favorite from those 4?
Oh, catfish.
Yeah.
Catfish, then it'd be then it'd be crunchy hush puppies, then coleslaw.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer coleslaw to corn. Imagine that.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you ever mix the two?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Some people do.
And I prefer my corn on the cob.
Okay, you don't like it like in a little cup.
I mean, I like it, but I prefer it on the cob.
And if you were to go on a Saturday,
you
would try to get there early.
I'd get there early. In fact, I might even call in and reserve some rib tips because I like the rib tips a lot.
People tweeted
but you know, they got other things because you know what you call Lane Kiffin?
A troll?
A master troller. Well, they're pit masters. So if you want some, just some good old fashioned barbecue, well, you can get that too.
You know that they're located in Bryan, 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan, without a doubt the what?
The best barbecue in Texas, which means that equates to the best barbecue in the world because we are the epicenter of barbecue.
And it's their trademark.
Oh, that's because it's true.
It's Fargo's. And we're back at TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Thank you to our texters helping us out with names out there. So Mendez sends in, Jack Cates is the 48 Hours Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
And I'm Reggie Hammond. How I forgot that, I don't even know.
There's a new sheriff in town. There had been one since about 2 years now, new sheriff.
There is a new sheriff, yeah.
Yeah, you're the new sheriff.
Reggie Hammond, baby.
Right here, right now, convict.
What was the other name we forgot from? Oh, John Dalton.
You are from Roadhouse. You're the Dalton. I'm Wade Garrett.
You're Sam Elliott.
I'm with the gray beard and everything.
Sam Elliott was cool in that movie.
Well, I'm pretty cool.
I didn't say you weren't, but I did. The way I said it probably sounded like I was.
That hurts, don't it? This is where I steal you for myself.
Is that his most iconic character, or is it Homeboy from 1883?
No, I
don't think you watched 1883, right?
No, I haven't. But wasn't he in like Tombstone? And
oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's been iconic in a lot of things. I don't think you can put Wade Garrett in a box.
No.
And again,
the movie Mask.
He's that guy.
He was the stepdad, I think.
Well, I don't think they were married. I think they were probably living in sin, with Cher. But
with Rocky Dennis.
With Rocky Dennis. Not to be confused with Rocky Balboa.
No.
Imagine what Talia Shire would have done to that family.
Oh, she would have ruined them. There's no way they would have had the strength to move on there. Hey, it's time for OB's Matchups, presented by Bach Realty. Bach Realty Group, brokered by Real, a full-service residential real estate team run by former TexAgs radio host Gabe Bach and his wife, Megan. Megan, Gabe, and their team ready to help you from luxury to new construction to farm and ranch, first-time home buyers, investment properties, and much, much more. Let Bach Realty Group be the Aggies you trust for all of your real estate needs. You've got some matchups for me, buddy?
I do. Here they are. Okay, I could do this off the top of my head, but since I've written them down, let's talk about pop music. No, let's talk about one we've already started with.
Okay.
Jackson Dart versus the Spy. I still have.
Do you want Edge to be your spy?
No, you know what? I want Edge to be my spy.
You do.
I want Bryce Anderson to be the spy.
You want it to switch.
I want it to switch. I don't want Jackson Dart to ever know who the spy is. Because when
confuse him.
Yeah, confuse him. Use different guys. Sometimes it can be DeBerry, whoever. But always have somebody, because that pass rush is going to get to him. He is going to be sacked.
Yep.
But there are going to be times, and maybe at a key juncture like it was last year when he escaped from the end zone, and instead of getting the ball on their side of the 50 after a punt, they turned it into a touchdown. He's going to escape some. Have somebody waiting on him when he does, so he can't turn it into a big play.
Do you beat Ole Miss if they rush for 180 yards, but Jackson Dart is in the negative category because of all the times he gets sacked?
Well, I don't know, because all the sack yardage goes against rushing yardage.
Yep. So that means if they got 180, they got like more.
Right. So if you had 40 yards of sack, 220. But since you brought that up, how about that A&M run defense against Jackson Dart and Quinshon Junkins and what's the kid from SMU, Ulysses S. Grant? Butler. Ulysses Butler, I think his name is. Bentley. Bentley.
Ulysses Bentley. Yeah.
Ulysses.
Yeah, from SMU. It's Bentley.
USMU.
Yeah.
Anyway, A&M, I think that's the number one key of the game, is what is A&M's run defense going to do against that rushing offense of Ole Miss. Ole Miss needs to run the ball to be successful.
They do.
They did not run the ball at all or successfully at all against Alabama, and they lost.
How well was Tennessee able to run on Bama? Do you remember?
I don't. If I could look it up.
I'll do that while you keep talking. The reason I bring that up is because A&M did an excellent job stopping the run against Alabama, but not an excellent job against Tennessee. So I open it up, and I'm looking at these stats as they load up.
There's three factors about A&M against Tennessee. First of all, Bryce Anderson didn't play. Secondly, Edgerrin Cooper didn't play in the second half. Yeah. And thirdly, Tennessee's splits and things like that were some things they hadn't seen before. And I think they got better in the second half after they adjusted. Well, Ole Miss does some of the similar things to Tennessee, so you don't want them being run like they did. So learn from what you did at Tennessee. or what you didn't do at Tennessee. Welcome back Bryce Anderson and Edgerrin Cooper, and see if you can't keep those guys under 150 rushing yards.
Tennessee against Alabama rushed for 133 yards. Alabama rushed for 138 in that game. And I bring that up just so we can go to the Ole Miss Alabama game because we're talking about similar defenses, right?
Right.
And I'm trying to open up that.
Weren't they pretty low? I think they were less than 100 yards against Alabama.
So Ole Miss
36.
against Alabama rushed for 56 yards.
56 yards.
To Alabama's 131.
Right. So contain that Ole Miss running game and keep Jackson Dart from scrambling or being effective in the running game. And, taking that another step forward, the A&M pass rush against the Ole Miss pass protection. Ole Miss pass protection has been kind of spotty. They've given up, I think, 19 sacks this year. Alabama had 5. I think Vanderbilt had 3. 2 other opponents, I believe, had 4. And A&M leads the SEC second in the nation with 33 sacks. So get after him. Keep him under pressure when they do have to pass. Always have the spy on him, but keep him under pressure.
But I do got to bring up the fact that they can get after the quarterback too.
They can, and that's another one because they have 30 sacks. They're second in the SEC behind A&M in pass rush. So A&M's offensive line has to do a better job in pass protection. Mac's got a better job of getting rid of it, but yes, that's a huge factor. Now, A&M gave up 3 sacks last week.
Right.
All 3 of them were on one series. So that kind of lessens it, the impact. I would rather have that happen than have 3 spaced out because that means one drive was ineffective as opposed to 3. It's like if you give up 100 yards rushing. I'll give up 100 yards rushing to Quinshon Judkins if one of them's an 80-yard run.
Sure.
Right?
If that's it.
Yeah, if that's it. So did A&M make progress last week in their pass protection by only giving up those 3 sacks and no more the rest of the game? Or was that a byproduct of playing a South Carolina team that, quite frankly, doesn't have a very fierce pass rush? That A&M pass protection is going to be, especially the tackles, is going to be tested because Ole Miss has some guys that, Jared Ivey, defensive end, he has 5.5 sacks.
Right.
They got another Cedric Johnson. He's been there. Seems like he's been there forever. He's got about 4, 3.5, 4. So they're going to be coming strong off the edge. So those tackles are going to have to do the job.
All right, I'm going to read this text. By the way, that is OB's Matchups brought to you by Bach Realty Group. Thank you very much to Gabe and Megan. They helped us get our home. They're fantastic. So if you're looking for a home now or here in the future, make sure you reach out to both Gabe and Megan and their team out there. I'm going to read this one text. Bruce and Belton. I got to meet his son, Paul, at the Angry Elephant last week. Super nice family. He says, Nuño is Riggs and OB is Murtaugh when Ole Miss wins tomorrow. No, let's not say that, which sadly I think OB will tell Nuño, I'm too old for this
stuff. Yeah, actually, that's pretty good.
Am I a loose cannon? Like
you got a little loose cannon.
We both got a little loose cannon, right?
A little, well, yeah, and that what didn't Murtaugh? Yeah, I'm too old for this stuff.
All right, let's hit a break. We're going to come back with Pick 6 right now. Today is Aggie Ring Day, and the Association of Former Students wants to congratulate over 2,300 Aggies who are going to receive their Aggie rings today. The association is also excited to announce the premiere of its feature documentary on the Aggie Ring. The Aggie Ring documentary film was conceived to offer a comprehensive history of A&M's most recognizable symbol, from its humble beginnings to its current status as the largest ring program in the world. The film is a little over 30 minutes and was produced to remind us that what unites Aggies is our enduring spirit, our shared experiences, and our core values at Texas A&M. To what the story is told is in this film. To watch it, go to tx.ag/spotlight. I encourage you to find time to watch the documentary and be sure to tell others about it. Again, to watch the film, visit tx.ag/spotlight. Congratulations again to everyone receiving their Aggie ring, and gig 'em. Thanks to the Association of Former Students. And we are back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by our good friends at the warehouse at CC Creations. Maroon never looks so good with Maroon U. David Nuño, Olin Buchanan. Time for Pick 6. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because Hannah's going to help us out today. Hannah, who had the best week last week? It looks like OB was tied up there with the best week. Is that right?
That is right. That's correct. And then, yeah.
Yep.
OB had the best
OB,
week.
Steve McKinney, and Seth McKinney, both, all three at 4-2.
I could have been 5-1 except for that late missed field goal.
Mm-hmm.
To tell you, if I was a head coach, if I was Jimbo Fisher, when they had a chance again and he didn't want to run up the score, and I get that's good sportsmanship, I would always know what the line is and do everything I could to cover. You know why?
Yeah.
Hey, the university, all these people at the game, they're making me rich, and I know they're betting on my
me.
team.
Yeah.
So why don't I try to help make them rich too?
By the way, there's also a 3-way tie for first place. We're all under 500 still, but I will allow Hannah to let the people know who's at first place.
Who are those people?
Well, we're going to call Olin first place. And then Steve and Seth McKinney are both
No,
tied.
you're not reading the right thing.
I don't
I'm
think
not
I'm
reading
in
the right
first
ones?
No.
I was last
in total.
week.
Oh, in total.
Total regular seasons.
Total regular season. I would say that David Nuño
Tied.
is tied for the first with
With
Carolyn Fenton and
Steve McKinney. OB is just one game behind us.
I'm
You think you
nipping
can
at the
catch him?
heels.
But remember, I was
Yeah.
in last place for the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
never
yeah.
get cocky when you're picking games because you can get humbled right
We're
away.
all under 500.
Yeah.
We suck. Let's get into the games. What's the first game, Hannah?
The first game this week, number 23, Kansas State at number 7, Texas. Texas is supposed to be minus 4.5.
Texas favored by 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
OB, there's a part of me that feels like this is the one game you don't go with the favorite because Kansas, but I don't know. Something makes me like, do I read into what Malik Murphy did last week and make me feel better about, not that I would feel good about it, but I think Texas is going to win by at least 4.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna take Texas.
I don't want to.
No, I mean I'm gonna.
That's our best chance for them to lose again.
Here, I'll put it this way: I want Kansas State to cover, but only. I want them to win, but only if they win, because I'm going to take Texas. So if Kansas State can't win, I want to be right.
Right.
But I'm going to take Texas. I think Texas is just the more talented football team.
Yeah, they're a good team. They are. So we're both taking Texas there. What's the next one?
All right. Number 12, Missouri is visiting number 2, Georgia, and they have Georgia with 15.5 over.
15.5. They're favored by 15.5 OB. I think just when Georgia gets games that matter, they turn it on. They're going to win by 20 plus.
I agree. I think with Georgia, it's like I've said it before, they're kind of bored by their own success.
Mm-hmm.
And so they slop around sometimes. Oh, it's time to play. Well, they know it's time to play. And the last time they played a team that was ranked, it was Kentucky. It was number 20.
Right.
And they was, we got to play. And they went in and just destroyed Kentucky. And I don't know if they'll just absolutely destroy Missouri. Missouri will probably show up. But I think they're going to go out and beat Missouri. Look, if LSU can beat Missouri by 10, I'm thinking Georgia can beat Missouri by 20.
Yeah, 1,000% agree. And by the way, Georgia's offense has been pretty good this year.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Pretty good. All right, let's go to the next one.
They're
Hannah.
getting healthy, too.
Yeah.
All right.
With the exception of Bowers.
You ready, OB?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Next up, we have number 9, Oklahoma, at number 22, Oklahoma State, and they have Oklahoma by 5.5.
Oklahoma favored by 5.5. I might go with the underdog here. Oklahoma State's been playing really good football recently.
Ollie Gordon.
Oklahoma, as good as their record is, has not impressed me, especially last week. I think I might go Oklahoma State in this one, OB.
Okay. Well, you might, or are you?
No, I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going.
I should take Oklahoma State because the Rangers won the World Series. And they bucked, by winning the World Series, they bucked tradition. They bucked history. They overcame it. And if you follow history of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, you got to take Oklahoma because even when Oklahoma State has been better than Oklahoma, they typically lose because I've seen games in shootouts, but then Oklahoma State with the chance to win the game, suddenly they can't move the ball. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Oklahoma because of that history. And I'm gonna welcome that W. Give me the W. I want the W, but only if Oklahoma State wins the game.
Well, Oklahoma State, I believe, this is the last time we'll have Bedlam for now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They got a chip on their shoulder, as they should.
They got Ollie Gordon.
They're at home.
Yeah.
They're playing good football.
They are.
I'm going Oklahoma State.
Go Oklahoma State. What would Dari Noga say to that?
Well, he hasn't been on our show in months, so too bad. I won't help him out until he comes on our show. What else is next?
We have number 5 Washington visiting
Washington.
Number 20 USC, and yes, Washington is favored by 3.5.
If Cal can score 49 points on USC,
what is Washington going to do?
They should score 100. I don't think they will, though. I'm going to go out on a limb and say USC's defense keeps Washington under 100.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Washington's going to score about 49.
Okay. And play a little bit better defense than Cal did?
And play a little bit better defense. 49-33 USC. Washington. Sorry.
Washington.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with UW to get the dub.
To get the dub. Did they win by more 3.5 than 3.5?
Rub-dub-dub. Yeah, they're going to win by 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Huskies.
Rawr, matey.
It's like going to be the Iditarod.
Why did I do a pirate voice?
I don't know.
Rawr, matey. Sorry.
Maybe Pirates. No, they never have Huskies.
There's a great chance Billy makes fun of that little part by both of us. Hannah?
Yeah, I think we can clip that. Number 14 LSU at number 8 Alabama. Alabama's favored by 3.5.
I've gone back and forth in this game all week because I don't know. I feel like Bama's offense isn't good enough to keep up with LSU's offense. But all it takes is a couple of sacks and, Jaden Daniels potentially, gets banged up a little bit. I think I got to go with Bama. They're angry about last year, and they've looked really good. And LSU hasn't played anybody recently, so I'm going Bama.
I'm going to take Alabama because, LSU's defense is injured.
They're all injured.
They're bad when they're healthy. So what are they when they are injured?
Bad?
They're like, who has a worse defense, USC or LSU? USC or injured LSU?
Injured LSU.
So I got to go with Alabama.
Yeah. By more than 3.5.
By more than 3.5.
Touchdown?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how many points are going to be scored in this game? You think it's going to be in the 30s, or is it
no
lower than that?
No, I think in the 40s. Oh, I thought you were saying only 30 points scored. No, I think both teams will score in the 30s.
Okay. Which plays into LSU. I think that plays more into LSU, right?
Maybe because that LSU beat Missouri 49-39.
Mm-hmm.
But that last one, the last touchdown was like in the last 10 seconds on a pick six.
Yep.
Alabama's at home. Alabama's better defense, not as good offensively, but LSU, I just can't do it. I do know that there is one Buchanan who's actually placed a bet on LSU. I'm like,
I wonder
where are you getting the money to place bets?
Dad,
what am I paying for?
Dad, I need money for books. My bookie.
I need money for bookies. That's what. Hey, Texas, you gotta. I'm talking as a state. You gotta pass this. Sports
Gambling
books. You got to, because everybody's doing it anyway. You might as well get they're doing it anyway. You might as well start getting
I don't know when it's coming, but
some tax revenue for it.
It's coming.
I'm betting on it.
Hey, let's go to the last game. I don't know what game that's going to be.
What game is it?
Well, that would be our most coveted Texas A&M at number 10 Ole Miss, and they have Ole Miss going 3.5 over.
Aggies.
You think Aggies win this
game?
Well,
I mean, even in this road losing streak, typically the games are really close.
Yep.
Unfortunately, A&M has a history of losing close games, or at least a recent history. But with the run defense that A&M plays, I think that they can keep Ole Miss to 24 points or less.
Yep.
Which they have done to every other big SEC team they faced. And, maybe they can – Anias and Evan Stewart can make some plays. I think at the very least it'll be a close game, and I'll take the points.
I was trending in that direction, but I lost a listener last week, your buddy, whatever his name is, because it was maybe 2 weeks ago, because I picked A&M to lose on their way to Tennessee, which they ended up losing in Tennessee. I want to pick our team. I do. But I've got to see something different. And it's not just what they do on the road. It's have they play the game of football, right? They've got to show me that they can play 4 quarters. They have not shown that. Mm-hmm. Had they shown that at all this season in games that matter? 4-quarter game?
No.
Auburn, not a 4-quarter game.
No.
Miami,
No, definitely not.
Not a 4-quarter game. Arkansas, not a 4-quarter game.
No.
Alabama,
Not a
4-quarter game.
2 quarters.
Tennessee,
Oh, definitely not.
not a 4-quarter game. South Carolina,
They didn't even show up in the first
they
quarter.
played second. Was it second
They
quarter?
played
second
second quarter
quarter
great.
21 points.
And
that-
passable in the other 2 quarters.
Right.
But not the first quarter didn't show up.
So I want to believe. I know. And the throwing out of the team's more talented, and eventually the streaks. Yeah. But if I'm gambling right now, and I'm not, but I'm doing it on the air. If I'm gambling, my money would have to be on Ole Miss because I haven't seen anything to change my mind yet. I'm waiting for it, and the moment they change my mind, I'm all in. But right now, I haven't seen it.
That's fair, and I'm just taking the points. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how the game who's going to win, but I feel pretty good taking. I get 3.5 points.
Yeah.
So I get a field goal. By the way, I think I've come up with the perfect duo to reflect us.
Okay, tell me
You
more.
are Bruce
Wayne.
Almighty.
Bruce Almighty, the Jim
And
Carrey one.
And I'm the Morgan Freeman character. Who was Morgan Freeman in that movie?
Jesus, right? God?
God.
He was God, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you have it reversed. D-O-G, not G-O-D.
Well-
You're the dog of the show.
Well, dog, God,
No,
whatever.
my dog.
My dog.
More like Bruce Wayne.
I guess Alfred.
And Alfred, right? Not Robin. That would be Zane.
Yeah.
Why did you laugh so hard?
Because
I think that's
why are you laughing
hilarious.
at that?
Robin became
why
Nightwing.
why are you laughing at that, Catwoman?
Richard totally is Robin. He just is.
Which version of Robin? The younger version of Robin or the one who became Nightwing? That's probably too much information for you guys.
He's my boss as well.
Dalton
so I'm just
would kind of be the Penguin. No. No, it's Brodie.
Even the Penguin can
Brodie would be the Penguin.
Even Bronny and the Penguin could wear a shirt from the Charge Apparel, okay?
That'd make you look good.
It is slightly tailored, not completely tailored, right? You don't want skin tight. You want it to fit the right way.
Unless you're Nuño.
Well, it's a large and it's spectacular. Anyway, we'll talk about the Charge Apparel, Travis and Tucker, good dudes. And I'm telling you, like the clothing, not only is the fabric the best out there, that's a fact. You can look at it, you can feel it, you can see it. But the way it fits is phenomenal. If you're tall, if you're small, if you're skinny, if you're like the Penguin, whatever you are, it'll fit you the right way and you're going to love it. And also you're going to love their mission out there because 12% of their total sales, not just profits, are donated to veteran nonprofit partners with a focus on mental health initiatives. It's an ode to the 12th man. They stand in support of our servicemen and women by donating 12% of their total sales to organizations that support U.S. veterans and mental health initiatives. And the maroon polo is the one to wear. I mean, they're all great, all of them, but like I would highly recommend the maroon polo. Check out the website, thechargeapparel.com. Again, the website is thechargeapparel.com. You can find them on Instagram, The Charge Apparel, or on X, The Charge Brand. Hey, everybody. Pretending like I didn't know I was on the air. TexAgs Radio. Presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. I'm David Nuño. He's Olin Buchanan. And we need to
You'd be more of the Waylon Jennings to me being the Willie Nelson.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Willie Nelson still looks good. Got to be 100, right?
At least.
He's so good. All right, time to bank on it. Presented by Vera Bank. Authentic, relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. All right, OB. Give me your bank.
Man, it's got to happen sooner or later, so why not this week? I'm banking on that road losing streak coming to an end. I'm banking on it.
You're banking on it.
I'm banking on it.
You're in.
I'm in.
And people are going to love you for it.
And they're going to ridicule me if not. And I deserve it, but it's got to end. Every streak ends someday.
Well,
why not tomorrow?
I gave some reasons earlier, but I hope. And you know what? If my bank on comes true, they're going to win.
Okay, what is it?
A Damani Richardson hype moment. He's had many of these moments, right, throughout his career, right, where you're like, because I feel like we haven't talked about him a lot recently. He's going to have one of those moments to be like, that's why we brought him back. Remember, Anias was quiet for a little bit, then he exploded.
Yeah.
Damani, bank on him having, and then I'll go back. If we get that hype moment, then I was wrong earlier. We do win the game outright. So a Damani Richardson hype moment. I'm hoping for it. I feel it's coming. We haven't had it. Pick six, fumble recover, whatever it is, something to change that big interception.
And keeping those Rebels under 100 yards rushing. Bank on it.
Bank on it. What else can we bank on? If they keep the Rebels for under 100 yards, they're winning by a lot, buddy.
Keep under 100 yards.
And what does Jackson Dart throw for?
Probably about 200.
Okay. We win in that scenario, I think.
300 yards, I'd be good with that.
Yep. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Kay Nagley. We got 3 minutes. You want to try to get it in?
Oh, I got this.
All right.
That's quite a bit of time, actually.
It is Around Aggieland, presented by Normandy State Bank. Normandy State Bank, rock solid banking. The website, normandystatebank.com. All right, what do we got?
As y'all were just talking about, Jimbo Fisher and the Aggie football team will head to Oxford this weekend for a battle with Lane Kiffin's 11th ranked Ole Miss Rebels. That will be an 11 a.m. kickoff, an early one again. So get your coffee ready, and that will be on ESPN. So make sure to watch your Aggies win that game and end a losing streak, as OB was saying. Men's basketball, I'm personally excited for this, will begin on Monday. Buzz Williams will start his 5th season in Aggieland. It's crazy. It's already been 5 years for him. They will be taking on Texas A&M Commerce at 7 p.m. at Reed Arena, like I said, on Monday. And then also this week, Wade Taylor, IV, and Tyrese Boots Radford were tabbed to the preseason All-SEC teams as voted on by the league's basketball coaches. The SEC announced that on Thursday. Unfortunately, Texas A&M soccer did fall last night in the SEC tournament. They had a heartbreaking, Georgia scored a heartbreaking goal with 27 seconds remaining in overtime as the Aggies dropped a 3-2 decision to the Bulldogs in the SEC semifinal. Unfortunately, that was a heartbreaker. Now the Aggies postseason aspirations will ride on the NCAA selection show that will be next Monday, so be sure to be watching out for that and see where Coach G and the Aggies fall. And then Aggie Volleyball looks to put its 3-match losing streak behind them with a game against Alabama at Reed Arena tonight. Actually, that is at 6:30. If you're in town, make sure to head over. Can't make it to that one. Another Alabama squad will be coming in. Number 24 Auburn on Sunday, also at Reed. And then Equestrian. There you go.
There we go.
They actually just began at 9 a.m. this morning. They are facing number 7 South Carolina. So hopefully another Texas A&M team gets a W over South Carolina.
Excellent, Kay. Thank you very much. OB, final thoughts before you head out.
It's not supposed to be easy. A&M has the more talented football team. You got to win this one on the sidelines. I think this is a great test for Jimbo Fisher and the A&M coaching staff, and they want it. They won't ever say facing Lane Kiffin means any more than any other, but this is not a nameless, faceless opponent for maybe for the Aggies, but I don't think it is for the Aggies coaches.
This is a personal game for all of us, the fans, the players, the coaching staff, so take care of business.
And if they somehow lose, just stay off Twitter. It'll make you feel better.
You know what? Just it's such a hard thing to do because we do want to see the misery, but we don't want to see it, right?
Yeah.
So let's just get a win.
Just
get
win.
A win and change the entire vibe around here.
Just win. Play well. Go out and
A&M wins, we're going to have record people watching the show on Monday. A&M loses, record lows.
Probably so.
All right, we're going to hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, a little bit of my interview with Dennis Dodd, plus Billy will be here at some point over the next 20 minutes or so. It's TexAgs Radio. So going back and forth with Tony Hurd Jr. right now. His name came up on the show earlier, and I know it came up on the Ask Liucci, so try to get him on the show at some point, maybe even this segment. Who knows? We're working on it. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. So we do a show that you people, by you people, our TexAgs audience. Nick, how would you explain it? When the Aggies are winning, people like that show. When the Aggies aren't winning, people are like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I think that's fair for a lot of what we do, but yeah, more so that show.
Well, Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports did join us on the program, and we're going to play a little part of that interview on Up to the Second College Football, which, by the way, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get updates when that show is published every Wednesday, and I think you'll like it. Here's part of my interview with Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports. All right, our next guest is a good one. Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports, breaking it all down in college football. Dennis, welcome to Up to the Second College Football. How you doing, bud?
Glad to be here. Week 10, ready to go.
Hey, so I want to start off something big SEC question, right? And I know the answer is yes, it's possible, but how possible is it that an SEC team doesn't get into the college football playoffs this year?
Well, we'll have that conversation Saturday night more if LSU beats Alabama. And, that leaves it up to basically Georgia to get into the playoff. That being said, I think Georgia can, quote unquote, afford a loss between now and the end of the season and still get in because of their body of work. And I know the schedule's not great, but at some point, you have to look at this team. And I was there in Jacksonville Saturday, and they're pretty stout. No Brock Bowers. Carson Beck is surprisingly the number 8 passer in the country. That one got past me when I saw that, but and their defense is just, we don't know their names like we did in the past. I'm talking about national scope. 19 draft choices, 8 in the first round in the last 3 years, but they're dang good.
Well, Dennis, I do want to ask you about Georgia because although their schedule has been easy, it does get ramped up here the next couple of weeks. Mizzou, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Do you see a loss in any of those three?
I don't. I guess Tennessee is the biggest hurdle as it was before the season. It was at Auburn late September and then November 18th at Tennessee in a revenge game. Tennessee seems kind of redefined itself as sort of a more defensive club. So yeah, maybe, but I'm writing about Missouri this week, and it's just kind of I don't want to say a courtesy. They've had a fine season, turnaround season for Eli Drakowitz, the guy who'd never had a winning record. Missouri's going to have one now, and this team was the upset kings of the '70s. For those of you that weren't born yet in the '70s, Mizzou is historically well equipped to do this, but they won't. For all the reasons I just mentioned about Georgia.
Dennis, how about for Alabama? Man, the turnaround, we saw it in real time happen from the team that played early on to what they are now. LSU, obviously, it's going to be a tough matchup for them, even at home. After that, Auburn, no. Kentucky, they haven't shown up in big games. All right, that's part of our interview from Up to the Second College Football. Go check it out on our YouTube channel and, of course, on TexAgs.com. But let's get to the Brian Foley Law Hotline where we can find Billy Liucci, our TexAgs co-owner and, of course, the executive editor. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, Nuño.
What are you doing? Sound like you're in a bathroom.
Sounds like I'm what?
In the bathroom.
No, I'm making a coffee in my new, probably not that new anymore. I got it before Auburn, but my new coffee maker.
I need to try one of these coffees one day. You've bragged about how great of a coffee it makes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's going to be latte-ish, maybe we'll call it.
Latte-ish.
It's going to be an actual latte. I just like a little steamed milk in it.
Okay.
It's just a black coffee with steamed milk today. But I could make hot, cold, latte, espresso. I don't know if I do a mochaccino. I don't even know what that is, but all kinds of stuff.
You know that Starbucks does a puppuccino, which is like a puppy's
Yeah, I've heard
frap.
about that.
Yeah. My kids want me to do that for our dogs. I'm like, why? Sounds expensive.
Yeah, it seems a little excessive. People do it though. I don't know how. I don't know. I'm assuming that it doesn't have caffeine in it, right?
No, I think it's just like whipped cream and something else. Like it's just
Obviously,
sweet.
it doesn't. No, caffeine. You can't give dogs caffeine.
Well,
all right, Puppuccino, talk to me.
Well, let's talk about this one in several regards. What concerns you about this matchup outside of they can run the ball well? What about Ole Miss is something that like A&M, obviously you want to stop the run. That's what they always want to do. But beyond that, we know they can run the ball well. What worries you or concerns you, better said, about Ole Miss?
There's a lot of things, okay? It's not Quinshon Judkins is really good, and Jackson Dart can run it, but it's that style of running that I wouldn't say I've yet to see DJ Durkin and his defense stop, because I know there are examples where they have, but I'm thinking of some of the worst games since he got here, and Ole Miss stands out, and I think Tennessee was a similar. I know, like, you look, here's how coaches do. You ask X's and O's, they'll go, those offenses aren't even the same. They're not, but they are. The Heupel and the Kiffin and the way they want to run at you, spread you out. If they can do it with the QB or the running back. Tennessee had some really, really good running backs. Ole Miss has a SEC leading rusher type / great running back. Both quarterbacks can hurt you with their legs. Dart did it last year. Milton did it to A&M on a few instances a few weeks ago. And then on top of that, they try to spread you out, and then they'll catch you in the personnel they like, or if they think you're tired, and then they go tempo, or they just go no huddle. And Tennessee's over here, and Ole Miss could do the same thing. You sack Milton for like an 8-yard loss at 2nd and 18, and they look to the sideline to get the play, and they're right up to the line of scrimmage. And they're not going hurry up, but they're just keeping you in that personnel look that they thought was attractive and they think you're vulnerable at, or that they think they can, get yards on. So, if they catch Durkin in a 3-man front and everyone's yelling and screaming, like, it's let's say it's 3rd and 9, and you come out, with the 3 down and drop 8, and they get a first down, or you rush 4, but you got a linebacker, and they get a first down. And then they see, okay, they've only got 3 big bodies out there plus 1 linebacker. We're going to stay in there. And we're going to keep the same personnel, and we're going to be able to, give them the option of Dart or Judkins running against a light box. And then we're going to do it on the next play and the next play. And everybody, we're all going to be sitting there going, well, on that 3rd drive, they went with 3 down linemen, and Ole Miss went right down the field. It's like, well, actually, they went 3 down on 3rd and 9, but their mistake was not getting off the field, because Ole Miss will make you pay. And that kind of running game is what scares me with this group. And spreading those guys out sideline to sideline, it helps block those guys up front that I don't think Ole Miss can block, just formationally. So that part of the running game, a.k.a. the matchup, concerns me, because Tennessee ran for a ton of yards, the only team to do it this year. They literally ran for twice as many yards as pretty much anybody else. Auburn had a nice day, not great, but a nice day. But Tennessee ran roughshod, and so did Ole Miss last year. So that scares me. The Rebel defensive front 7, and like Durkin brought there to Oxford, they're still very aggressive and attacking, much like A&M is right now. They got some dudes up front, not to the Bama Tennessee level, but I would say on par or better than, slightly better than like Arkansas, somewhere in between Arkansas, and maybe more like Auburn. But they're getting after the quarterback. They're making plays behind the line of scrimmage, and that's a major concern with the A&M offensive line and with Max Johnson, and the time it takes him to get rid of the football. So to me, that one falls on Petrino and Jimbo as much as it does the blockers, because I think they've got to understand that and recognize that you got to sit in there and somebody's got to say, whether it's Jimbo or Petrino or even the assistant coach, like, this is what they do on tape. They're doing this to offensive lines that have played better than ours have this year, or even if they haven't, they're doing it to every line they play, 30 sacks or so. Like, they're going to get to us. We got to change something, or this will be the result. And so I'll be interested to see what they change. But, that's not a matchup you love with A&M. And then, the deep ball, the deep shots. And, Tyreek Chappelle was banged up last week. his status will be interesting this weekend. I think he'll go, but I don't think that's for sure by any means. And even with Chappelle or whoever, that they're going to attack down the field. And Bama did it. Miami did it. Tennessee did it and dropped a couple. And look, everybody's going to try that. But those three, in the three losses, one of the common threads were, in two of them anyway, big plays in the passing game. Tennessee couldn't connect and make the completions. I think Ole Miss will. So you're going to have to weather that. So those are the concerns, and of course being on the road. I do like that it's at 11 a.m. My concern is going to be the start of that football game. Like, can A&M, which they have this year, give them a lot of credit because last year they never could. They've been getting off to good starts. Well, my question is, can they weather the early storm in Oxford? That'll be to me, that'll be the danger zone for this team tomorrow.
Billy, I don't want to say the word safe to say that they learn from Tennessee, but that Tennessee game is at least an example of what this kind of team can do. So they have practiced or played against it, which you would hope they learn from it.
Well, and look, we've talked about this. They played Tennessee the whole second half without Edgerrin Cooper and without Bryce Anderson, and Josh DeBerry moved over to the nickel where we hadn't seen him virtually at all this season. And they held Tennessee to 13 offensive points. So that is encouraging. I don't know how many Tennessee would have scored had they. And that game did go similarly. You know, you had Heupel going for it randomly on fourth down, and the Aggies getting some stops, and that's part of those teams' games. What you hope is that the Aggies can play.
I think his Bluetooth. There it is.
Sorry.
All good.
There you go. Like they did last year against Tennessee. Not last year. Like they did 2 years ago against Ole Miss with Elko, where Matt Corral and the Rebels, people forget, they went up and down the field like water in Oxford. And that's what scares me about tomorrow is that is a very momentum-based crowd stadium. That's going to be especially true at 11 a.m. Those kids are going to be all out really drunk the night before. They're going to really party. And if you're down 10-0 early, if Ole Miss is down 10-0 early, you can really take the energy and out of that crowd. But that is a momentum-based place like no other. It reminds me, for A&M fans listening, and I want to talk to Steve and Seth about this because I don't know if they've ever been to a game there. It reminds me of Tech in that if you let it get going, it can really be deafening and overwhelming. If you don't, it doesn't feel like much. And so, especially an 11 a.m. game. 2 years ago, though, Ole Miss up and down the field. But what happened is the Aggies won the red zone. Lane Kiffin did not settle for field goals. And when he didn't do that, sorry for the beep, when he didn't do that and he decided not to settle for field goals, he cost them points because the Aggies got fourth down stops. They forced, I think, 2 first-half turnovers, or that game would have been over. So you do build that in, that Kiffin's going to take kind of some reckless chances, and you do. If you can get stops in the red zone, a lot of times those red zone stops mean 3 instead of 7. When you're playing Ole Miss, sometimes you can save a whole 7 points with a red zone stop, especially when Ole Miss is decent on defense, because that's when Kiffin thinks, well, we're just going to get the ball back, north of our 40 after this anyway. We're going to stop them and get it back. So red zone defense for the Aggies will be, I think, actually, by both teams, because we know A&M's got to do a better job. I don't even know, David, if I want to say inside the 20. A&M's, I can't. I feel like there have been so many times this year where A&M inside the 10 has been just a problem. You think of late in that Bama game when they could have cut it to, 26-24. They couldn't punch that in. You think about that Miami game there to start the third quarter, pivotal drive, and you don't get the first, and then you false start on fourth down from in there. I mean, there's been a lot of early in that Auburn game, not once but twice, when you could have gone up 14-0 on them. Early in that Bama game, on that fourth down. These are all red zone, some of them deep red zone stop or drives. Both your first two drives against Auburn and Alabama. I mean, you could have gone up 14-0 against both those teams, and instead one was 6-0, the other was 3-0. So it's definitely, you will not win tomorrow if you go down that same road. So red zone execution, I hope, was a real point this week.
Billy, what about the aggressive play that we saw at times last week that served them well? And by aggressive, I'm just saying, going for it in certain situations, doing quarterback sneaks, just seeming, the end of the half as well, calling the timeouts, giving your offense another chance. Yeah. How important is that this weekend?
I think it's very important. Now, look, again, anybody that I'm going to take both sides of this one. Jimbo definitely called a more aggressive game last week. He can downplay it or anybody, but he definitely called a more aggressive game. There's no doubt about it. Going for it from inside your 30 in the first quarter of a scoreless game, that is not what we've seen him do typically. Going for it again on your side of the field, down 7-0 in the first quarter, these are not things you see him do. Quarterback sneaks, we did not see. They changed it up and started doing those. Okay, so they definitely went in saying we're going to have to start being more aggressive, and I don't think it was just for 1 week. I think that'll carry over. That thing before halftime, sometimes I think people in our media, and then it carries over into the fans that read Twitter, and they say, like, there's been a lot of things that I think, last couple of weeks, Jimbo's been misconstrued on. Of course, dirtbag Kiffin, locked myself in my office lane, has, taken it and run with it about this. Some teams, their goal is to be bowl eligible. That's not at all what that was completely taken and run with in a different context. His point is, he basically was saying we need to win every game. This first game is the first thing to do is get bowl eligible by winning Saturday. And then everybody wanted to turn that into a massive negative, which I think is so disingenuous. And I just think there's a certain subset of people that they just want to burn it down anonymously every chance they get. And it doesn't help. And that doesn't mean you have to be party line and just on board with 8-4 or 7-5 or 5-7. I'm not on board with that either. That's not good enough. Period. In any year except for maybe year one. But the part about it with this stuff, people, I think they're just not listening when he's kind of explained the philosophy for weeks now, because 3 weeks in a row it's been prevalent. With the offense as it sits right now, and he's not going to say that, but that's just the reality. I don't think he wants to start a drive inside the 10-yard line, cling to a small lead before halftime, try to go all the way down the field and have your inconsistent kicker from distance hit a long field goal. Those odds are low. The odds of either something bad happening, back force fumble, interception, or way more likely just a 3-and-out and a punt where you're giving the other team a chance to score. By just keeping the ball and running up the middle, you're not giving them that chance. It's conservative, yes. Is it also taking into account the offense that unfortunately you have on the field right now that struggles in blocking? Yeah, you're factoring that in. The other day, that's a no-brainer. They're punting from deep. You're getting the ball with, 2 minutes left, and And if that guy would have boomed one inside the 10-yard line, they probably would have gone back to what they were doing. They had the ball at the 42-yard line. Of course you attack. So, do I think he's going to be aggressive like Lane Kiffin? Not at all. Do I think on 4th and 1 or 4th and a yard and a half throughout this game, do I think you're going to see them take some chances? Yeah, depending on how, what the scoreboard looks like. Yeah, I do. I think that's going to be moving forward. I think you're going to see Jimbo try to have confidence in his quarterback and O-line and oh, by the way, use the sneak when they can. But I do think you'll see them be a little more aggressive on 4th down than they've been.
All right, Billy, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with you here in a few minutes and continue breaking down this game on the road at Oxford. Billy Liucci there on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. Right now, we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. It is the place to go find your next vehicle, right? Whatever situation you're in. It could be a situation like me that car might need a new transmission, which means, I don't know about all that, buddy. Might be time for a new car. So there is that opportunity out there. Or it might be because you got kids that are about to start driving. Or it might be you're just ready for a new car. Whatever your scenario is, let Caldwell Country Chevrolet be the place to take care of you because of their excellent customer service. That's before, during, and after the process. Their amazing price point and just good people that work there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. That is the fact. When you go there, you know you're going to get great customer service, and it's the kind of place that people in this area have trusted for a long time. That's why R.C. Slocum goes there. That's why Dante Hall went there. That's why a lot of the staff here at TexAgs have gone to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. About a 15-minute drive, Brian and Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the good people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. And we are back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy should be in studio, I think, in the next couple of minutes. A question I'm going to ask him, and I'll ask the audience right now if you want to get in on the Angry Elephant News and Social Center text line. What you can do is text 979-693-1150. What game this season has been the most impressive win by Texas A&M? Right? Look at all the games. And by impressive win, I want you to also consider who they played. Because when you go through the schedule, they beat a really bad Arkansas team. Now, I think the Arkansas team you played then is not the Arkansas team that is playing right now. Is that the most impressive win? Is it potentially Auburn, who seems to be playing much better football and they're trending in a higher direction? What game is it? Is it South Carolina? Based on what South Carolina did last year, but you know their whole injury situation there on their offensive line and beyond. So what game this year has been the most impressive win? Obviously, if you look at last year, the most impressive win was LSU. Before that, what would you have said? I guess Arkansas again, right? So I say all that as you try to end this losing streak. What have you seen? Well, I think they looked okay in the Miami game at times, not defensively. Obviously, offensively they did. But beyond that, like, what game has been the most impressive considering the caliber of opponent? Have they beat a good team this year? That's a real question. It can start this weekend, and that'll be a huge win because I've already laid it out for you. At worst, Ole Miss is a 9-3 team and ranked. At worst, at the end of the year. At worst, they're 9-3 and ranked. At worst, they lose to A&M and Georgia. At worst, I guess they could lose to Mississippi State. But more than likely, they're a 9-3 team. Now, they have lost games at the end of seasons before, but they'll probably be a ranked team at the end of the season, depending on how bad they lose to Georgia, how bad they lose to A&M tomorrow potentially. But you look at A&M's schedule, like, we're not going to count the Monroe game. We're not going to count the New Mexico game. No, those aren't. So you lost to Miami. You pretty much dominated Auburn. That might be it. Actually, now that I think about it, Auburn might be it. The Arkansas game was a domination until that late score from Arkansas, but that you were taking it, but you didn't score in the second half. Not a touchdown, offensive touchdown, I should say. But that's it. Like, which has been the most impressive win that gives you a little bit more optimism heading into this one? So, hey, buddy. Welcome back in. Thank you for coming in. I asked the question, what has been the most...
Hair's looking good today. I like it.
I don't have any product in it at all.
That's why it looks better that way.
Yeah?
Take notes.
Yeah?
Au natural.
Okay.
It looks good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I
like it both.
Sometimes I want to put some product in it. When it gets too long, you got to put product in it for my kind of hair. Mm-hmm. What's been the most impressive A&M win this year?
She's laughing over it. Most impressive A&M win this year.
Considering the caliber of opponent. You hate this question. I can see it in your face.
Well, because it's like everyone knows the answer.
Well, is it Auburn?
Nothing's been impressive, but
Auburn's a team that feels like they're...
Yeah, but sure. Because it's damn sure in Arkansas. At the time, it felt like Arkansas.
I think the Arkansas team you played is not the same team that they are now.
Yeah, I do. I heard you yesterday, and I agree. I think A&M broke them with that, or exposed them, whichever way you want to look at it. But there hadn't been very much impressive. So if you want to go through an entire year without doing anything that matters on the football field, then don't win tomorrow in Oxford and don't beat LSU in Baton Rouge. Then you will have gone through without knocking off a ranked team. You'll be 0-for. And you go 4-4 in the conference where you beat 4 teams that are going to struggle. I don't know. I mean, you might beat 4 teams in conference that are going to struggle to be bowl eligible. I know Arkansas and South Carolina certainly are. Mississippi State's trending that way in the last couple. I mean, so.
But
is Auburn going to trend up and up? So nothing you will have done would certainly, none of that would qualify as impressive. And it would, I don't think it's a word, but I would call it depressive. So, But
Ole Miss is going to be, at the end of the year, they're going to be a ranked team regardless.
They'll probably lose to Georgia. And if you beat them, they'll probably finish 9-3.
Yep.
And they might be a 10-win team when all is said and done if you beat them. If you beat LSU, LSU's an interesting one, right? Because they're flying high right now, and they very well might go beat Bama. But if they don't, and you're doing this, will A&M beat them? If they don't and A&M beats them, that's 4 losses. Last year they lost 3. For all the hype around Brian Kelly and this, they will have lost 7 games in 2 years with Jaden Daniels. That doesn't even count their bowl game, which they could end up losing 8 in 2 years. Now, look, we just jumped way out ahead because they probably have a better chance of beating Bama tomorrow than they do losing to A&M at home.
Mm-hmm.
A lot can happen in a month, but between now and then, if we're sitting here today, the odds would say they're a better chance of beating Bama tomorrow night than they are losing to A&M at home. So we just took several leaps, but it's to show that this season is far from over. And if you just want to blow that off, I think you're doing 2 things. I think you're giving way too much credit to Ole Miss, and I think you're forgetting about what A&M did last year against LSU. And I know, I get it. It's a problem. I brought it up yesterday. You had Wigman, Moose, and A-Chain. Watch that game and see who made Wigman, Moose, and A-Chain. But I'm just telling you, for as great as LSU's offense looks, and you don't want to play them right now today, you might be, who knows in a month from now?
Right.
Who knows how Jaden Daniels will fare tomorrow against that Bama defense? But LSU gives up a ton of points. I saw Brian Kelly talking about how their defense has not been the same since Ole Miss. Well, yeah, man, you played Auburn, who you gave up 21 to, or whatever it was, 19. Auburn at times were going up and down the field on them. You played freaking Army. And who was the third team they played in that stretch? It was somebody that wasn't really. Oh, well, it was Missouri, who went up and down the field on them.
Yep.
They had the the massive defensive play there late. But
Missouri scored 39 in that game.
Yeah, and they were all over them early. So they're bad defensively.
Arkansas
I don't care
31 too. So I'm just throwing out some old games.
I don't care what anybody says. You have a puncher's chance when a team is that bad defensively, whether you're A&M or anybody. And so, look, right now I don't think they've won anything impressive. If they don't beat Ole Miss and LSU, there's not an option. They will go through a whole year without beating anyone impressive. Last year, at least, they beat LSU. The year before, they beat Bama. In 2020, they had a couple of them there. Florida stood out. 19, no one, 18, LSU. They typically have at least one win that jumps out at you. Heck, in 21, they had 2 of them. They beat a number 11 Auburn team when they came in here. So that would be bitterly disappointing, and you would also extend that road losing streak. You would probably finish 4-4 in the SEC. You'd be kicking yourself over a couple of early losses, to Tennessee and Bama. You would, even if you beat Mississippi State, you'd be 1-5 in the last 3 years against the Mississippi schools. There are a lot of things that would have a real negative spotlight shined on them, and rightfully so. If you win tomorrow, you break a lot of those tendencies, a lot of those streaks. You're likely to be 2-0 against the Mississippi schools. You'll have beaten a top 10 team or top 11 ranked team on the road, the ranked team on the road for the first time in a while. You would have snapped the road losing streak. You go into LSU with momentum. At worst, you're probably 5-3 in the conference after going 2-6, and you win 5 out of 8 with your backup quarterback. There are a lot of things that trend and kind of change the feel. It doesn't change everything, Nuño. I don't think it changes where my perception of where's the program at right now, but it certainly takes away a lot of the, again, like I said, justified and warranted negativity.
Sure? Let's go back to that, because I do think a win tomorrow changes the way we look at this program for probably the next month.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's what I'm saying.
3 weeks.
I'm just talking about big picture.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think at 100. That's exactly what I said. I don't know.
Well, I
you
thought,
tricked me. You're trying to.
I thought the way you said it was more like it won't change the way you look at the program. I think
I don't think it changes where I go, okay, I think everybody should just jump back on board and be all in. This thing's rolling again.
Gotcha.
I there are a lot of things Jimbo's going to have to revisit during the offseason within his own staff, obviously, which you have to do that every year, and sometimes things are more obvious than others. But just even in the day-to-day, you've got to get a recruiting director in there. There's a lot of those type of things that will have to be done to really, I don't want to say change culture. I think the locker room's been good. It still has been good. But you still need to continue to strengthen all that as well. There's a lot that has to go on, I think, before A&M's championship culture and contending program again. But winning tomorrow would go a long way towards this finish being good. It would go a long way towards keeping certain players happy, which I hate to say it, but that we're in 2023 and that's how this works. So it's a big deal tomorrow, David. It really is. It's a big swing in the pendulum, especially to how this program is perceived from the outside.
A win tomorrow at least keeps in play the optimistic diehard fan out there that a 10-3 season is still attainable, which at least for morale of all the people who watch this show and talk about this program, that is something that they can sell for a long time.
Don't kid yourself. Aggie fans want to see Jimbo Fisher lead their team, the team in maroon and white, into Oxford, Mississippi, and beat a program that's not Alabama. It's funny, though, because people don't get all pissed because A&M loses to Tennessee. Ole Miss has been generally better than Tennessee over the last few years. Between Freeze and Kiffin, they've generally been a better program. But it just is what it is sometimes in the way people think. But they don't want to go lose to Mississippi. They don't want to see Lane Kiffin mock and ridicule their school, their traditions, accuse A&M of buying an entire roster and doing, all the things he's doing. And people want to see Jimbo, even if they don't like the way the record is, even the ones that want to see Jimbo not coaching here are probably rooting for him on Saturday because they're like, this guy has, to me, Jimbo has kept his mouth shut. The other guy's running his mouth. You see all those reels on Instagram, the pre-fight face-off and the guy that's popping off the most, and then they cut to the highlights of the fight. The guy who's quiet knocks him out in like one round brutally, and it's like you see those all the time. That's what people want to see. That's why those reels are popular since the beginning of time. And I'm not saying A&M's David and Ole Miss is Goliath. I mean, Kiffin's trying to do the opposite. He's trying to make Ole Miss David and A&M Goliath. But I'm saying one side has generally kept their mouth shut. The other side has popped off. Everyone that's a fan wants to see A&M win this Saturday. Even the people that have agendas going the other way with it.
This is personal.
This is personal. If they lose, they're going to be that much more pissed off about it.
All right, we'll come back with more. We're way late for a break. Right now we're talking Milliken Reserve. The community there is fantastic. If you're looking for a home to relocate here to this area, it is an awesome place. Their neighborhood is nothing like a typical subdivision. They're based entirely in that Brazos Valley landscape and heritage with deep Texas roots. There's no place like Milliken Reserve out there. The Creek are these awesome homes in this wooded estate, plenty of expression that their owner's vision will tell you. The Hollow is homes in a private gated community, and then you got the homes at the Meadows that are responsive to their natural surroundings out there. It is rooted in Texas soil, so if it sounds like the place for you, check out millikenreserve.com. And if you want to just enjoy nature, it's a great place to go. Connect with nature, connect to your family. 2,600 acres of open space and farms. They want you to know that that is the place to go just to hang out and have a good old time with your entire family. Extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape. You can go hiking there. You can go biking. You can go canoeing. You can get the kayaking, the equestrian trails, the evening yoga, the summer camps, and so much, much more. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We were talking about Lane Kiffin at the end of the last segment. And the thing that really bugs me, if they win tomorrow, you're probably looking at, I'm talking about Ole Miss, by the way. You're probably looking at Lane Kiffin winning 10 games in 2 out of the last 3 years. Because
talking about what?
Lane Kiffin. If they win tomorrow, they're probably winning 10 games 2 out of the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Something we haven't seen.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is going to cut both ways. I think in the last 3 years, Lane Kiffin, and this is what, his 4th season there? He was there in 2020. I don't know that Lane Kiffin, I think his number of wins of note since arriving in Oxford is probably sitting at 1.
LSU this year?
Now, look, going into Knoxville and winning against Tennessee was big. That was, I believe, an unranked Tennessee team. And if they weren't, they finished like 7-6. It was Josh Heupel's first year. These are things that matter for Ole Miss, like when you're breaking trends and tendencies and things like that. But I'm just thinking of like what they lost to Florida at home in a big game in 2020. He hasn't beaten Bama yet. I'm sure they've gotten a ranked win or two here or there, whether it's like a 23rd ranked Mississippi State or Arkansas or whatever. But realistically, outside of the Egg Bowl, which again, like that's for fun. Outside of that Egg Bowl, his wins of note since arriving in Oxford, I think, are this year LSU, and you have to say it's beating number 11 A&M, because here's what I do. I'm talking about A&M in 2021. They beat number 1 Bama and number 11 Auburn.
Yep.
Well, Auburn ended up fading down the stretch there. Knicks got hurt a week later. They were terrible. A&M ended up finishing unranked at 8-4. So, but he beat number 11 A&M and he beat LSU at home. So in 4 years, at most, maybe he has 3 wins of note. I can think of 2 that are truly noteworthy. But the point is he's doing that in the West, and he still won, if he gets there this year, 10 wins 2 out of 3 years. And that's without really doing anything of note except maybe 2 wins in the last 3 years. It goes to show you that you're not asking a coach at A&M, whether it's Jimbo or anybody, Sumlin, that's the only 2 in the SEC. It's not asking too much to navigate a schedule from time to time and reach double-digit wins here. And I know people say Jimbo hasn't done it. I think that's dishonest, disingenuous. I know, technically he hasn't, but the reality is everyone knows that 9-1 Orange Bowl top 5 finish season. Had you replaced Tennessee and Florida with Fresno, Colorado at home, and North Texas, that they're actually 12-1. But still, 1 time in 6 years clearly isn't enough, especially if you look over to Oxford and you see in the same division, Lane Kiffin able to do that 2 times in 3 years, which he hasn't done yet. Tomorrow will go a long way towards that. But he hadn't beaten Alabama. He hadn't beaten Georgia. He just now beat LSU when they're actually good.
Yeah.
That's in a way I'm knocking Kiffin. But on the other hand, he is doing something in Oxford with less than A&M's done with more under 2 coaches now in this league. So you can navigate it. We sit there and look at the schedule every year and we go, oh my God, this is so daunting. And it is, except you realize that teams can do it. And
teams have done it.
And A&M's got more than enough talent to do it. But this one feels weird to me this weekend, David. We're going to go to break, and I want to talk about it. I mean, Bronny's out there bothering everybody in the lobby.
He hasn't been too loud today.
No, but he lobby lizards. He sees anyone come in there, and he's going to go just start grilling them in the lobby.
We should get him like a name tag, like a greeter.
Like a Walmart.
Yeah, like a Walmart.
Or get him one of those little vests.
Or have, the vest and have the Costco card. You have to have a card to get through, and he's got to check it.
That's true. He can check so people can't come in here.
That's just so random.
Qualify. Let me ask, and what if Seth or Steve forgot their card today. They don't get in.
I think
no,
if he's a good greeter, he knows the face. I know you. Come on in.
Nope.
No, you want him to
got to
be
be a stickler if you're going to take that job. I want to talk when we get back in the hour about this game and why, like, where I think the perception is of A&M versus what they really are right now. Those two close losses, people have forgotten kind of the nature of the losses and who they came against. And I feel like a lot of people outside of Vegas, who has this is a pretty close game, a lot of people have written this team off because I think we as Aggies have written them off emotionally.
Yep.
You know, because the frustration, it's like you're not going to win anything. You had your chance and you blew it, which they did in those two games. They had their chance to make this a real hell of a story, and they didn't do it. And now it really can't be a hell of a story. It
can be a hell of a finish, though.
But it can be a hell of a finish. This team, even in their losses, was not that far off.
Right.
And again, like we said, that's with 100 mistakes, where if they had just made 20 of them, they win those damn games.
Yep.
We'll talk a little more about that.
All right. When we come back, perception versus reality of where A&M really is.
I got to go save everybody.
Go save people from the Walmart greeter. Right now we're talking about Heritage Films, yourheritagefilm.com. It's Chance McClain's company. They do documentary films about your family, about your uncle, your dad, the patriarch of your family. They do it about family ranches, family businesses. And I used this example yesterday. We all get so excited about Facebook memories. They pop up. Oh, look at little Jimmy. Look how little he was. Now he's a grown man. How about you tell that story, not just a picture every other year, right? Like actually tell the story of little Jimmy. You can do that story different ways. You can do it with the Year Flicks, which is like these 20-minute Q&A videos, benchmark videos, talk about sixth grade year, talk about freshman year of high school, and then a couple years later you talk about the freshman year of college, or maybe all 4 years of college, how your major has changed. That's what Year Flicks does. It's more for the youngers, and it's more of a 20-minute Q&A fun video. You also have the Heritage Film, which is the heritage of your family, the documentary, the one that tells the entire story, not a Facebook memory, the actual memory told from the people involved with it. It's an awesome thing to do. Really happy that Chance is part of our team here at TexAgs. The website is yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. All right, look, we don't have time to get into what you wanted to talk about because we have a minute, but we will have time.
We do have time to save the McKinney time. All I was saying, Dave.
Bill?
Mind if I call you Dave?
Do you mind if I call you Bill?
You can. I don't love it. Do you love Dave?
Not necessarily. Not when you say it, at least.
Dave and Bill here with TexAgs. Look, I just think that people have completely thrown in the towel on this team. And I get the why. Losses are losses. Sloppy losses, like where it's self-inflicted mistakes, frustrate you even more as a fan in terms of watching it, because what happens is they're playing well enough in stretches of these big games to give you hope, and then when you don't capitalize. But the reality is they're that close to being undefeated in this league, and that's the team they are.
All right, more with the McKinney brothers next on TexAgs Radio. It's TexAgs Radio. We were presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for the final countdown. Steve and Seth McKinney in the house. Billy Liucci, David Nuño. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are my friends doing?
We're doing great.
I
man.
like this jacket.
Thank you.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Is that an A&M brand or
no? It's not.
Just maroon.
It's maroon.
Probably LL Bean.
I wish.
Orvid.
Filson.
Billy, we didn't get to fully get into it, but maybe you can bring in the McKinney brothers on this one.
I was instructed outside. They want me today to the little peanut gallery. You know those guys that sit up there in the Muppets at the top?
Yes, at the top,
yeah. That's them. But they want me, anytime you try to steer the discussion towards football today, to just take it right off the rails.
I don't mind.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not. Maybe we would have inadvertently, but we're not because they want us to. So
now we're
going
to talk
ball.
Strictly
Yeah.
football. Boring.
So you,
I did see 5 bears in Asheville last night on
bears
on TikTok, and I told them when we were in Asheville. I told my group there are a lot of bears in Asheville when we were hiking, so be on the lookout. I was excited to see some bears, and they made fun of me the whole trip. And
You a big TikTok guy?
No, but I see them on Reels. Like
Seth hates TikTok.
I don't watch TikTok at all unless someone.
I'm sorry.
But,
I'm sorry, Xi Jinping. All right,
He's one of these guys.
Programming for TikTok.
He thinks that he's the one that thinks
Yeah,
China's
they've just
getting all our data.
They're just
tracking
taking
all of us.
over the U.S. through
That's
Steve
fine.
McKinney's TikTok.
All right, Michael
Stay
Scott.
naive. Stay
Michael
naive.
Scott.
Over here.
We're number 2.
What's the guy's name? The bald-headed guy?
Kevin?
No, the crazy guy that gets banned from every.
Oh, the old guy?
No, that crazy, like yell and scream.
We
Come
talking
on.
Creed?
No,
Talking about The
What are we
Office?
talking about?
No, Creed. I did buy Creed tickets.
Yeah, I heard.
I love
Seth,
the Creed,
right now
resurgence.
you're invited. It's during the A&M bye week. Right now he's
For
my
now,
plus
he's
one.
invited.
I guess like the
Girls don't
old
want to
MySpace.
go to TikTok. I mean TikTok.
Creed.
Girls don't want to go to see a
That's
Creed
true.
concert. I told my Dallas crew, like the guys that want to go, I said to the girls, like, that one's a yard lawn ticket concert because they can
Creed?
just sit up there and watch all the guys act like idiots and have fun, and the girls can just sit there and talk about yoga or whatever they want
Makeup
to while
and stuff. Yeah.
No, see, that's taking it too far.
Perception.
I'm good football. Perception
versus
See,
reality.
they won.
They did win.
China won.
Oh,
No,
China.
they wanted you to do something else.
Yeah,
You
steer
didn't
it off
steer it
football.
away. Yeah,
Now we're
we
back.
steered it back in. So perception versus reality, where this program really
Well,
is.
I just think I said it earlier, Steve, and said that people have thrown in the towel completely on this team, and nationally, but also within the fan base. And I understand why, because there's an emotional level, and it gets even more frustrating when you watch the last 2 losses and know how they were there for. I wouldn't say easily, but they were both so much there for the taking, and because of their own mistakes, time and time again, A&M just couldn't take it. And so, at some point, as a fan, you just go, I've thrown in the towel. This is not.
You don't want to get too emotionally invested.
This team is the team we think it is.
But so yes and no.
That's what they're thinking.
But they're right. But no, they are what we think it is. But what we've seen and what they've told us is that they are more than good enough. And I don't just mean talent. I even mean in performance. To be able to go out there and beat an Alabama, to be able to go out there and beat a Tennessee, to pretty easily and comfortably handle the lesser teams in the conference. So far, South Carolina, Auburn, and Arkansas. And that probably will include Mississippi State. I don't want to count chickens, but that's what they are. And they're good enough, even with the mistakes and the shortcomings and the O-line and a backup quarterback and, suspect corner, where they're susceptible out there. Even with all that, they've shown us they're good enough that they could beat a Bama or Tennessee, and they could be sitting at 4-1 or 5-0 in the SEC right now that easily. I'm not saying that they should be or that I'm not, but I'm saying what they are is that. So that team is certainly good enough to go into Oxford and have a real shot to win tomorrow.
Yeah,
if they play like they've been.
I agree with you. So Miami beat us. Like I don't see a world in which we beat Miami.
No, that was
but 100%. I see a world where we beat Bama and Tennessee.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
But that's what we get back to every time.
Well, I mean,
but I'm just saying that team is good enough to go out and win in Oxford.
I know, absolutely.
The only people that seem to realize that are in that building and in Vegas, where they've got Ole Miss is only a 3-point favorite at home, which is essentially they're saying neutral field. This is a pick'em game.
So here, let me just say this. This is the game where we can change everybody's perception because nobody, like you said, really expects us to go in there and win because most of us think they are what they are, but we in this room and the true fans know what this team's really capable of. So this is the chance for the team to go and change the national narrative and restore hope. I mean, this looks just like the 21 season where we lost some games close or lost some games we shouldn't have lost, but then won a few big games and changed the whole narrative going into those
into Ole Miss
last couple games of the year where we had a chance to win 10 games that year and we failed. But this is a chance to really turn that around. Imagine going into the LSU game sitting there at 8-3.
Absolutely.
How would you feel?
And I
and
would
on
feel
a 4-game
great.
win streak.
Yeah.
And you're on
5-2
a 4-game
in the
heater.
conference.
And the fact of the matter is, what's going to have to happen this week is that the O-line is going to have to go out and execute. And there is no reason why. I mean, like, as much you see what we have up there up front, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to go execute.
There's no reason, dude. This offensive line has to come together, man. They're too good.
Do you worry about their confidence?
I don't worry about their confidence. I worry that they haven't cleaned up as much of the stuff as they haven't cleaned up. Like
it's annoying
seeing the same mistakes like week after week. It's like, dude, guys, come on! Like you five got to gel and come together, communicate better. We shouldn't have guys running free right up the middle because we're splitting like the Red Sea.
It's crazy,
right?
But did they get better in that game? Max got sacked 3 times on the second drive.
Throughout the game?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
But, dude, this is not a bunch of freshmen, first-year
Right.
starters.
That's the frustrating thing.
We shouldn't be starting a game giving up 3 sacks in the first quarter. Come on, man. At home?
No. They're not that bad. Like
we're better than that.
They're playing – their performance out there is way worse than what they actually are. Yes. And you can attribute some of that to whatever they're doing over there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a big issue that they can easily fix, in my opinion.
Well, they had 2.4 seconds. That was what the amount of time that Max had to throw. Is that enough time?
No, I mean you got to have more time than
if
that.
If that's the amount of time you're getting, then that's what you got to work
with.
on. Right?
You got to get rid of the ball.
You said that a couple weeks
ago
in terms of I said it to you this morning, the play call and design. You have to look at Ole Miss and say, what do? They get that 30 sacks. We've talked all year. The A&M team gets after the damn quarterback. They've got 33. Ole Miss gets to the quarterback pretty much as the Aggies do. Yeah. So you know what's coming. You know what your O-line's weaknesses are.
Yeah.
You know that Max will hold on to the ball at times. As coaches, you have to look at that and say, they're coming, they're getting pressure, and unless they're just consistently getting 4-man pressure, which for as great as A&M's defense has been, they do sell out. That's where they've started to get pressure. After that Miami game, they said, okay, we're just going to have to see how quick we can get to quarterbacks and make them uncomfortable.
And that has worked.
And it's worked. Ole Miss, unless they're getting to you with 4, then there are quick plays to design to beat that pressure. Right. And you've got to draw that up and give those to Max and this offensive line. Build that momentum. Throw those quick, like Ole Miss and everybody else Tennessee did. Throw those quick horizontal passes. Yeah. Hope your receivers block and do what they're supposed to do.
Early in the down count, like not third down, because let's say you go back to last week where it was 3rd and long on the 3rd play of the game and we allow a free rusher. You can't do quick game on a 3rd and long and expect to get it competitively. No. But early in the down situation, man, they do need to dial up a 3-step drop and just stick with it until it quits working.
Well, we need to be
we
better.
don't have the ability to protect, obviously.
We need to be better on 1st and 2nd down, period.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Our first down.
That we run for 2 yards.
2nd down.
This is what the pattern feels like. First down, run for 2 yards, 2nd and 8. Maybe an incompletion, 3rd and 8.
Or if you do
first
run
down,
on second,
incomplete,
it's
2nd down, 2 yards.
and
Every time they get from about me to Nuño and hit a damn brick wall running that football, that That to me, do you think that's a numbers thing or a poor blocking?
Man,
thing?
They run some crazy schemes.
It's
Really?
It's a lot of stuff, man. But all I know is that they got to do better on first down because that to me is what's killing us right now. There's
Yeah.
no creativity on first down. Even when we throw the ball, we're not doing that great.
I know they came out.
What's the why for that? Because that's not what we saw early. Is it personnel?
I mean, you could point to that. You could for sure. I'm not going to say that's why, but you could definitely.
I think
point
it's
to
scheming,
it
man. I think it's the scheme. I think defenses know what we're doing.
That's what it feels like.
It's too predictable. When we run the ball, they're playing the run. You know, it's not like we're not blocking the 4 guys up front. I mean,
sometimes we're not.
Yeah, well,
I
sometimes we are not. Okay, but it does feel like there's a lot of linebackers, safeties coming up making tackles after yard or two.
Yeah.
So to me, when you start seeing that, it's the defense is not. They're not fearing your pass.
Yeah.
You know, they know you're going to run it, and they're coming up and playing the run. So, I mean, we just got to get a little more creative. We got to keep the defenses more off balance with our play calls.
I do think if there's time for Max to throw this week, and maybe you create time late as the game progresses by the plays you call early, right? Yeah. But if he does have time, I think these receivers can have a big day.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
This Ole Miss secondary. I think they can have a big day against almost anybody, but
right.
I think they can go out there and you can see 0, 1, maybe 3 making plays. Noah, I'm in like a bit of a prove it mode there. A lot of a prove it mode.
He's had 2 really good games and
1.
I'm
not going to say 2.
You don't think Tennessee?
Well, 3 catches.
No.
Is that what? I mean, I'm not saying I still think he can be really good, but I'm just realistically when we talk about what do we expect in a road game against a 7-1 SEC team, if you get 5 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown from Noah Thomas, that's bonus money right now. I mean, I know I want that. I know he can do that, but if Evan did that or Anais did that, that would surprise no one.
I got a question for y'all. I really don't know any clue about the answer to this, but it feels like our production out of our tight end, and it's not the player involved, I don't believe, but it's just gone way downhill this year, like basically non-existent.
They've disappeared at times. I mean, they have made some plays. I mean, I know Max made a couple nice catches, and Jake had one, I remember. But, yeah, they're not a huge part of our passing game.
I think they're
like they were in years past.
More Donovan Green's numbers last year.
I can go pick them up for you.
Yeah,
I'm not sure they're not the same.
Oh, well.
Or close. I mean, I don't know. I do think
Donovan Green, 22 catches, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I guarantee you they've had more yards than that this year.
All right.
Already.
Just a thought.
Maybe. Probably right around that already.
Jake Johnson in 2023. 20 catches, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And Max Wright.
And I didn't put it.
So I think they're about on par as last year. They've kind of been possession receiving tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jake, I think he has the potential to be a little more dynamic, but I would like to see them recruit or portal even a guy that's like a threaten you down the field vertically to go with the possession type guy.
Right.
Then I think you have you could put 2 of them on the field and create some matchup problems.
Yeah, we don't really have that right now.
But they've done a nice job of making first downs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, it's hard when you have these receivers. I mean, I'm over here wanting to see more of Moose.
Yeah,
I just mentioned Noah, but so if he's not a volume producer and Noah's not getting shot, I mean Moose isn't getting shots. That's been a head scratcher for everyone. I happen to think that they're not just not playing him. I think that has to do with just kind of how things have gone in practice, and that's fine if you do that with him, but then you better do it across the board with every position.
Right.
So other guys that aren't getting it done in practice or aren't giving the effort, I'm not saying I know what the answer is there, but with whatever it is in practice that's holding him back from playing, then I hope it's consistent across the board, because I do think you're certainly giving something up by him not getting a lot of reps because he can play.
Am I wrong in not remembering a game where both Anias and Evan shine? Like both?
At the same time?
Yeah.
It was Noah and Evan in that first game.
Yeah.
I mean, if both of those guys shine in one
I was
game,
like, I'll take it.
I do think
we'd be
there's
averaging more points than we are.
I do think that's kind of not a coincidence at the same time, too. Though, and I'm not saying like, hey, you see it all over college football where teams have two, like LSU's having games where Neighbors and Thomas are shining. We can go back to Bama, all those years.
Yeah, and when they do, what happens? They put up huge offensive numbers.
I mean that's kind of the key. I think Evan is drawing a lot of over the top help attention, and I think that does create opportunities for Anias. So I see where there's a little bit of that, but at some point, I think you also have to go, we got two pretty damn dynamic offensive weapons. They should be producing big games every week. And I think last week I was encouraged because Anias did, and Evan got 11 targets.
Yeah, I was
and he
about
had
to say.
6 catches for 55 yards. He didn't have that big play, but at least was a step towards, I could tell they schemed to get Evan the ball more, and then Anias did his. Maybe it's this week.
Yeah,
I'd love to
keep
see
targeting him. It's gonna work some point.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with more on the Final Countdown here on TexAgs Radio. Right now, we're talking about Costa Vida. Go check them out in South College Station. Obviously, on game days over the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to find them all over Kyle Field and, of course, on A&M's campus. They're awesome. They take great care of Aggies. They've got great food, and they're open for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. If you go for breakfast, get your morning meeting on by going there. Get yourself some coffee and some breakfast tacos. They are fantastic. If you end up staying for lunch, you can get all the great food that they have out there. They have awesome meals out there. They're fresh made, scratch made. You can taste the difference at Costa Vida where every ingredient does matter. And some of the food that they have out there, they got the burritos, the salad, the enchiladas, the tacos, the quesadillas, the Baja Bowl, the nachos out there, sweet pork protein, raspberry chipotle, chicken shrimp, grilled chicken and steak, cheese and veggies. If that doesn't make you hungry, I know you will by the end of this spot out here. Open in for dine-in, drive-through, curbside takeaway, delivery with DoorDash, easy online ordering through the Costa Vida app. Remember Costa Vida for catering events of 10 or more. Awesome place to go for all of it. As always, they are Aggie owned and operated. The great Holly's out there. Go say hello to her. 4501 Mills Park Circle in College Station. It's Costa Vida. And we're back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Maybe because we've talked about offensive line, this is an easy answer. Maybe it's not. What's the most important position group this weekend on the road against Ole Miss?
100% the offensive line. I mean, that was kind of a bait right there, but I'm taking it.
No, I mean, that's right. I mean, we got to protect him, give him some time to throw the ball. And we have to establish a better running game, especially on first down. We got to be able to run the football better consistently. These 1-2 yard, and they, Ole Miss is as good as A&M is tackle for losses and sacks.
Right.
So, I mean, we have to really get movement up front. We cannot afford to be in those 3rd and 10-plus situations with this offense because we can't hold up in the pass pro long enough to let plays develop downfield.
Yeah.
And Max holds the ball too long. He does not have the pocket presence that you'd like to see out of your starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said it. I mean, I agree 100% with what you said. I mean, there's nothing you can say more about it.
To me, that's the problem. I'm not saying the offensive line is not a problem because they are a problem, but Max's pocket presence has got to get better. I mean, there's so many times where I just remember playing where the quarterback just helps you out.
Yeah,
gets you. You're not gonna always just lock your guy down on the line of scrimmage. You're gonna get some pressure sometimes, and the quarterback's just got to be able to move around inside that pocket and not just stand there.
You see it. There are people who can navigate a pocket better than others.
Dude.
And it's just a
I
gift
think
for whatever reason.
I think that's what they miss so much in Connor, and I do think it is. I think this is a 3-pronged issue that needs fixing, and it goes O-line / protection. Running backs, I thought were bad. Blocking the other day.
They've been bad for a while.
Yeah. O-line / protection. Max does take sacks. He doesn't, like against Tennessee, he was getting just ransacked, just destroyed there in the second half. But then there's a play where, you just get an interception and you're down. I think it was 17-13 at the time.
Chance to take the lead right there.
And you take like a 15-yard sack where you just run straight backwards, and we got bailed out with a face mask.
Yes,
he was going to take a 15-yard sack at the 1-yard line. Mm-hmm. Game over.
Oh,
if that sack counts, the game's over.
There was no hope at that point.
And
if it were,
but then on the other plays, he'd have like no time and would just get killed or get. So it's the combination, I think, of all of the above and the play calling, which is the 3rd prong. And I know it's probably, and this is not like. I'm not putting my coach defender cape on here because this goes back to, hey, it's your O-line should be better than it is. So if you're having to scheme around a shaky O-line and all that, then it's still on them as a staff to say that's the group you've put out there, and they haven't. Yeah. They've made only modest improvement when they needed to make significant improvement. But it's tough to, I think, play call with that combo, but you have to do it.
Yeah,
and if you go back every week and you go, okay, 13 points, not good enough. 20 points, not good enough. Second halves, not scoring, not good enough. What do we have to do? So every week you have to say, what are your liabilities? And you can't just sit there and go, well, these guys aren't getting it done.
Yeah.
So we're screwed. And that's not what they're doing. But we haven't seen them find that 4-quarter answer yet. Damn, it would be nice if they could this week, because I think if they did, they'd win this game.
There are protections that you can run, even on 3rd down, that you wouldn't want to run on 3rd down to help protect the quarterback. Slide type protections, even
we don't do a lot of slide protections.
I know it's mind-boggling on why. I don't know the reason behind that, but there are ways to make things function better with talent that's not performing the way that it should. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And we're not doing it. I don't know why, but we're just not.
Yeah.
Well, if they could figure it out this week, this is a winnable football game. And you know what you're getting from your defense. This is a winnable football game. Just like Bama was, just like Tennessee was.
I mean, but you got to get
just like Miami was, really. You let that game get completely away from you in the final couple minutes before halftime and the start of the 3rd quarter. These are, like I was saying earlier, A&M right now, they are what they are. They're a pretty good football team. That there aren't many teams in the country that A&M would be playing Saturday that I would not expect them to be close with deep into the 4th quarter and have a chance to win. There's not many of them. Like Is Ohio State going to just run away from A&M? We saw Bama, they didn't do it. Georgia's play, even though they'll turn it on and throttle some teams, they've played a lot of close games. Not a lot, but maybe 3 of them against teams that aren't probably even on the level of A&M. Georgia might be the outlier there, but who else? But what A&M is the team that will make enough mistakes where they just can't quite get over the hump and beat the good teams. That's what they are so far.
Yeah.
They have to change that on Saturday because I think they're going to be in another close one, and it's going to be, can you make the plays in the fourth quarter? Which this whole thing started 2 years ago in Oxford.
Yeah.
The Aggies had beaten number 1. They'd beaten number 11. They were ranked number 11 going into Oxford, Mississippi. They were going to, if they beat Ole Miss, they were going to be favored against a bad LSU team that was sending Ed O on the way out. He was already fired. They had a great chance to be 10-2 after going 9-1. Back-to-back New Year's 6 games. And guess what they did? They had the ball. Demas drops a touchdown pass. They have the ball 1st and 10. 1st and goal from the 10 with your backup quarterback and a chance to take the lead in the fourth quarter. And you know what they did? They couldn't do it. They got the ball back down 15-13 with a chance to go win it in the fourth quarter. What do? They throw a pick. Then they get the ball back and they throw a pick six. And the game's and that's how these games have gone for this team in big moments virtually ever since.
Well, let's give them a little bit of credit from last week, however, because they did change some things coming out of the bye week. Their mentality was different, right?
I like
They're going for it on 4th down. They were doing quarterback sneaks that Seth requested. They even ran some screens.
Did you send an email?
But
thank you.
But that was just
thank you note.
Obviously, they were listening.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were self-aware that some things needed to change. They were more aggressive on 4th down on our end of the field. When has Jimbo ever done that?
We talked about that earlier.
When has that ever happened?
I know, it was beautiful.
I'm not even sure I agreed with those calls.
And I'm like,
at the time, I'm going what is Jimbo doing?
Are you sure? I love taking a risk. Let's do it. I mean, that's
and then you're like, whoa, we're down 7-0. You're going for it inside on your side of the field.
And then they play for at the end of the half to score, and then they scored.
I think that was an easy decision, though.
It was kind of easy, but we hadn't done it in the past.
Yeah. It was definitely a more aggressive.
It was more aggressive
manner of coaching.
So let's see what they do out at Ole Miss. I mean,
we're gonna have to put up
we got
points,
nothing to lose, man.
Oh no, not at all.
We've already lost 3 games.
Yeah, never in the game though.
Everybody's written us off. We have to go out there and just let it loose, man. We got to play loose. Be aggressive. Don't play scared, and don't play to lose.
Yeah, and that's the answer going into the week because you're going to have to put up a lot of points. I mean, I have faith in our defense that they're going to limit them to like a season below their season.
We need
average,
to score 30 points.
I agree.
We need to score 30 points.
And guess what? 30 would have done. You'd have beaten Alabama. You'd have beaten Tennessee comfortably. Hell, you had 10 points at halftime in Knoxville. If you'd have gotten to 20 in that game, you probably would have won. I mean, I know Tennessee finished with 20, but like if you would have scored 20 in the normal course of the game, not on that last drive to tie it and go to OT, like you could have won that game 20. You had been up like 20-17 with Tennessee having to go down and try to tie it late or something. Like 20, call it 24 points by your offense, and you could have beaten. You would have beaten Tennessee. Bama, 27. You win 27-26. Like, you don't have to light up the scoreboard with this offense to win with the defense they've got.
Did you?
Maybe against LSU you might have to.
Did you answer the most important position group this weekend?
He was out of the room.
I'm going to have to. It's too. I'm going to leave off the obvious. I'm going to say it's cornerback, and those guys are going to have to cover, I might just say the whole secondary. Their coverage has got to be, because if you can keep Ole Miss from hitting big plays in the pass game, you could be bend but don't break if you have to. B, I am still confident in this team's ability to stop the run, even though I worry a little bit about it looking more like Tennessee just because matching styles, and they've got a great back and a running QB. But I think they could, what they didn't do last year, I think they could slow down the running game enough. if they can cover and not give up big plays, then I think this defense can hold their point total way down. Like Bama did when they held them to 14. Auburn, they scored 28 on. Arkansas, they only scored 27. You can, if they can cover back there and not give up bust plays or home run balls because the safety can't get there in time, I think they'll be in really good shape defensively.
Yeah.
And then on offense, what I'm going to say, guys, is wide receiver. I don't think Evan and Anais are both going to go for 150, but this is a game where, you want to score points, like you said, they're going to have to make really tough catches and make big plays to keep drives going, to score in the red zone. Hey, I'm going to go up on first down and go sky over your head and catch it, or I'm going to make a tough fade catch in the corner because that might be your best shot to score because second and goal and on gets tough for this offense. So you go back to Ole Miss last year, Evan made a couple of sensational catches. You go back to Bama last year, Evan with some sensational catches. The upset over Bama a couple years ago, Anais Smith really came and made plays. So did A-Chain. You go Moose against LSU last year. All these big moments for these teams, and you have guys making the tough catches and helping the quarterback and the O-line out. I think if A&M wins tomorrow, I think Evan and Anais both have big nights. And it doesn't have to be 100. It could be one of them 87 yards and a touchdown, and the other one 117 and 2. It doesn't have to be these Mike Evans-style outbursts.
All right, when we come back, the Freak of the Week and the Sleeper of the Week next on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we're back. TexAgs Radio here, the final countdown. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Gentlemen, it's time to do the Freak of the Week.
It's the Freak of the Week. That was our best. Oh, we're winning this week.
Okay,
yeah. It's on, bro.
It's the best this season.
I was trying to tell Seth where we might go for lunch, and he was panicking because
I'm panicking because you go to.
Yeah,
I don't want to free average, but like in my favorite spot.
He was going like
but
this.
I can't go today.
He was going like this. And then and then he did it.
Wait.
It was perfect. It was great.
Good job, Seth.
You can't go eat with us today.
I can't.
Interesting. How the hell are we going to win a football game?
No, don't you even.
Really, Seth?
Actually, this might be.
Road game. I know it might
He's
be
got
good.
a chance.
Maybe we'll win.
Yeah.
It is a road game.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Freak of the week.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first, man. I think that Billy mentioned him earlier, and I think that he's right, that if this guy has a great game, I think you can count on us having a shot to win this game for sure because we're going to need him. Evan Stewart, man. I think that he's got to go out, get open, take advantage, catch the ball when it's thrown to him, make the right plays when he's got the ball in his hand. And I can't wait to see it, but I think he's going to have a big game, and we're going to need him bad.
I'm going Le'Veon Moss.
Yes.
He's coming back.
He's supposed to. He's practicing.
All right. So I'm going to assume Le'Veon Moss is playing, and he's going to have a big game because we need to be able to run the football. We cannot go down there and expect to win this game by being one-dimensional. Their pass rush is too much for our offensive line to be one-dimensional. We have to run the football. So let's go Le'Veon Moss, 85 yards, 1 touchdown.
Okay. I'm going to go with if we're Freak of the Week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm allowed to pick a good player here.
Sure.
I'll go with Edgerrin Cooper.
Why not?
Like what? The guy's been the Freak of the month. He's been the Freak of the year in the SEC. His SEC numbers are gaudy,
really
incredible,
He's
and
doing
so
great.
I'm going with Edgerrin Cooper. Like, look at that. He leads the country, I believe, in tackles for loss.
That's nuts.
He
man.
ranks second, or
that's a
I
great
think he's
year
fourth
right
in
there.
the SEC in sacks, but the leader's got 8.
I hope he's getting
right
Lombardi talk. I mean, I know we're not having a great year for that, but
got
he
six
is.
QB hurries, and 4 of them came last week. He's got to have more than that, guys. Like I question some of these statistical things. I noticed he went from like 2 sacks down to like 1.5 last week, or 1 to a half sack or whatever. Like I don't know what they're reviewing when they look at this, but whatever it is, he's heat-seeking missile out there.
Yeah.
Even his plays that don't show up, their tackles for lost sacks, whatever, are really impressive plays. Like that forced fumble the other day.
Yeah.
The way he blew up that screen pass. I mean, this dude has been playing lights out football, and I think this game is a chance for him to really show out, and he should be extra motivated, just like that entire defense, based on all the talking coming out of the Ole Miss camp before, during. They talked with their pads and the way they ran the ball, and after. Those dudes should be pissed. They should be inspired. They should be motivated. And I think Edgerrin Cooper is going to have to be a Freak of the Week when you're talking about containing not only Quinshon Judkins, but also Jackson Dart as a runner. And then, by the way,
how many did they put on us last
his
year?
ass, almost 400. Harass his ass as a passer too, because he will throw the ball the other way. And if you get to him, I mean, you need. I'll be honest. I mean, like, you don't want to see guys get hurt and stuff, but you want to bang him around and knock the crap out of him, and make him not so willing to run the football.
I want to make him really sore. How about that?
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind hurting him to where he's having to play hurt. Not injured, but like
hurt him.
Yeah, make that dude limp.
I don't mind, man. You can say that. That's the goal, man.
Ring his bell, make him rattle, make him flustered.
Permanently alter someone.
Yeah, like, well, people are so sensitive now. They'd be like, "Oh, you're calling for?" I'm calling to legally. I'm all for if A&M knocked every quarterback out of a game.
I'm absolutely for that.
8 SEC games. Bring it the hell on. I'm here for it. So go knock him around, ring his bell, make him reluctant to run. If they're able to do that, a big part of the reason why is going to be number 45.
All right. Do you have an offensive one? Don't you usually? No. Right.
You usually do that.
I don't ever do anything.
I was
that
waiting
one
for
ran
it.
long.
I was just waiting.
Right. Now it's time for the sleeper of the week, presented by the Sleep Station. Go see Jared McLeod and ask about the Tempur-Pedic and Purple mattress in the Specs parking lot at Texas and Harvey, and in front of Lowe's at William D. Fitch and Highway 6. The website, thesleepstation.com. Steve, who's the sleeper?
Can I pick the offensive line as the sleeper?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's who I was going to pick. So now I got to find the sleeper
because they've been sleeping. But I mean, there's a chance they could wake up this week, right?
Yeah, there is.
We saw some flashes.
We've seen them have good halves.
Yeah, and even the South Carolina game after that first quarter, things started to settle down, and it was better, right? Maybe Ole Miss is the game where we take that step forward, and kind of how we did last year against LSU. This could be the week, Nuño.
Let me jump in about the line. I had a question that's probably a ridiculous question. Billy will tell me if it is.
No, I won't.
How much are the punting issues an offensive line issue?
Punting? Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
The fact that we've struggled punting the ball this year so much, and how much.
Speaking
time
of punters, I'm going to say he's my sleeper because that's a glaring mistake. And to answer about the offensive line, I don't get it either. I don't understand.
The offensive line has nothing to do with punting. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
you talking about the situation?
Just the blocking.
You talking about like punt protection?
Yes.
Oh man.
No, listen. Cooper missed a block on the one that almost got blocked last week, and he's actually been outstanding in that role. And you don't have I don't know
any
how many of your starting
linemen.
offensive linemen are out
You
there.
might have them in those weird positions nowadays.
maybe in the
they
back,
typically put D linemen there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely no expert on college punt protection.
It's so wild. College punt protection is the weirdest thing
I don't even
ever.
understand why they do it that way, personally. Yeah. Like, the NFL's
I despise
very
it.
different.
I can't stand it. But
I have no idea. I've even asked those questions. I'm like, I don't think anybody has a good answer.
But, I mean, the punting itself, like getting back to it, like he's got to have a better game. I think we talked about it the other day at lunch, Bill. It was like 6 for 180 or something like that. Like, you should be able to get that in 4 punts. I mean, Leckler could get it in half that, 3 punts. But I'm just saying that you've got to be able to perform, not even at a Leckler level. You got to be performing at a good college player level, and we're just not getting that out of our punting game right now.
I would say they're flirting with disaster, but we've seen disaster. Mm-hmm. They didn't flirt with it. They went all the way with it. The disaster. But last week, they almost got a punt block. They were down and had to punt and hit a poor one. Mm-hmm. You gave yourself a real chance of falling behind 10 or 14 nothing. And
how do we do punt protection? Like, who's in charge of it?
You had a field goal deflected last week. I think tipped the miss late. You had that massive block against Alabama.
How does A&M do special teams? Who's in charge of special teams at practice?
An analyst.
An analyst. And then what about?
I don't know the time commitment versus other.
Timeout is.
I do think there's a world where I do think Jimbo hasn't done it this way, and I don't know if he'd even be receptive to it. But I do think there's a world where, with an added assistant a couple years ago, which they didn't use it for a special teams coach, a full-time dedicated SST coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a world where you can let Elijah Robinson coach the entire D line and hire a special teams coach.
I mean, if you look at the way we play and the way Jimbo likes
but you have to commit time to it in practice too.
But
I
listen,
hope that's getting done. And
listen, guys.
I don't know.
I hope that gets done.
Apparently, I'm not here.
I heard you.
Good Lord.
We know what you're going to say.
You have no idea what I'm going to say. Listen, the way Jimbo likes to control games, the way he likes to call, special teams coordinator makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. It really does. Like, we're not out there trying to score 45 points a game. We're not trying to go up and down the field as quick as possible. We like to control games, keep them close, win them in the fourth quarter. That's a special teams coordinator type of team right there.
Usually a coach that has that kind of thing is like dialed in on special teams.
Yes.
Completely dialed in.
Exactly. So that's why I would be in very, very much support of that. Because you don't need 2 guys to coach D-line. Come on.
You barely need one.
But look, Jeff Banks, they tried to keep him, and he left for Bama, when he was here, when Jimbo got here. He left in kind of a controversial – the manner he did it, but they tried to keep him.
Yeah.
He would have Coach, he that's what he is. Especially he would also been tight ends or whatever. But you can have it but you've got. I think maybe look at the time spent, and if you think you're short there, adjust accordingly. I don't know that. That's something that Jimbo would have to look at and maybe get input from other people to say how much of these woes.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, see,
COVID's back, baby.
I would.
How much of these woes?
Plenty of time, though. I bet you they spend the normal amount of time on special teams.
I would hope.
I would hope. But I would say I would have that conversation of do we need to do more wherever it's at. Like, can this be fixed by us doing more?
I think
Punt protection
on
absolutely
teams,
can be fixed.
On teams that really do well on special teams, it's not that they spend that much more time on it. It's that they emphasize it more.
Yeah.
It's more important.
Yeah.
They talk about it more. They emphasize
it very seriously.
And they take it more serious. And
that's what I'm
Results,
asking. Like, do you self-scout and say, are we doing this enough? They might think, yeah, we are. It's an execution thing. Or you really look at yourself and go, damn, you know what? We need to put a little more emphasis on this because we've been lacking.
Did you give us a sleeper?
No, I didn't, Dave.
Okay, I just want to remind you.
Maybe my sleeper. All right.
I'm about to fall asleep.
I know. I'm over here. I'm going to go with sleeper pick on defense. I'm going to go with Torian York. He's playing well, but all the attention's on
Edge.
I think this is a linebacker game. I think one of these linebackers gets an interception or a key turnover. I think this is a linebacker game. I think York could be very active in this one.
Has he been pretty quiet lately, or is it just me?
I thought he made some good plays last week.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying it seems like he's been quieter than he was.
I just think he
on.
hasn't been as loud as Edgerrin Cooper.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
he's just getting overshadowed a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's been playing pretty
the
good.
numbers look pretty impressive still.
And then on offense, I'm going to go with Jake Johnson.
Okay.
I think a tight end, and here's what I mean. I think we get a touchdown from Jake this week.
I'm in.
And maybe 4 catches for 42 yards and a TD. Nothing major, but enough. That he impacts the
brotherly
game.
love. Let's do it.
Yep.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with Pick 6 next on TexAgs Radio. We're back on
No
TexAgs
pun
Radio,
intended.
presented by Dave Garner Jewelers. We're about to do Pick 6, but those of you listening on the Zone, keep it with Louie, but also we will continue past the end of the show on YouTube to finish the Pick 6. And we're going to allow Hannah at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center to set up the games. What?
That sounded weird. You're like, we're going to allow Hannah, the Angry Elephant, to...
Is that how I said it?
The Angry Elephant.
At the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Yeah, we're back at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. So our first pick for this week is number 23, Kansas State, at number 7, Texas. And Texas is favored by 4.5.
Yeah.
Hannah?
Who you got, Seth?
I hate to break it to you, but... Oh, I'll let Seth pick first.
Oh, that's fine. Hate Texas, and I don't know anything. I don't know who's healthy or not.
Yeah,
but
I've
I'm
got
picking
a fact
Kansas
check
State.
on Yoda,
I'm picking
too.
Kansas
I was
State.
correct last week, by the way. What is Olin talking about? By the way, when I told you that Riley Leonard wasn't going to play, he didn't play, right?
He did not play.
He did not play, so I was correct.
And then Seth tried to act like he was going to play. And I was
What?
like, wait, that's not
I
right.
literally saw him on TV, unless I saw some kind of replay.
You were probably watching the wrong game.
There's no way
There's a
on earth,
replay.
dude.
If he played,
he might have
very
played
little.
early. I'm telling you, because
If he played, he didn't do very well.
Well, I know that. That was my one loss of the week, I think, from last week. I don't.
So who are you
anyways.
picking?
Oh, I told you, I'm picking
Texas?
Kansas State.
Oh,
I hate Texas.
Riley Leonard did not
You don't
play.
like Texas? Against
Loftus
Louisville? He didn't play?
Grayson. Nope.
Oh, Seth.
Well, wait, am I looking at the wrong game?
Oh, that's what. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Yes.
Oh, disregard. Continue on.
All
You guys were
right.
saying?
I'm going to go Kansas State also. Kansas State's playing pretty good football right
He
now.
did play. You were right. He just
Did he
played
play?
He played horrible.
He just
though.
didn't play well.
Yeah.
And now he's hurt again?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Kansas State. I think this is the week Texas goes down.
Let's do it. I'm here for it.
I don't know what... You didn't watch Texas play BYU, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I watched
I
some.
heard you saying Malik Murphy did a good job, and it's
The numbers look good, at least.
That's what I heard you say, and I was like, he looked at the numbers: 2
Mhm.
touchdowns, an interception, 16 of 25, 175 yards. If you watch that game,
He didn't look all that
he's
good.
still a liability.
Yeah. Agreed.
BYU just royally sucks. I mean, that is.
How did they
This
beat
ain't
Arkansas?
the BYU team that humiliated Steve. Or no? Were you still playing then?
No, I wasn't playing then.
He
Yes,
was.
you were. Yeah, because the
Don't
next
even.
week you lost. You ruined all our lives and lost to ULL.
That was not my senior year, though.
But this is not the BYU team where Sarkisian just ran circles around Steve.
I didn't play defense.
But seriously, BYU, which you're wearing their colors today.
Thank you.
That is a straight BYU shirt.
It is.
But BYU is trash this year. They're really bad.
How did they beat Arkansas?
They almost lost to Sam Houston. Arkansas is trash.
Our best one?
We didn't
At
know
Arkansas.
that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't know that.
We didn't know that?
We did know it, though. You should have known it because
Oh,
BYU
y'all were
had already beat
y'all were
them.
running
thought-
scared,
I just
man.
thought BYU
I
was
wasn't.
Y'all were running
Absolutely
scared.
not. The fan
when you
show-
play when these two people play each other. I'm like,
Well, it was close.
Yeah, don't
still.
act like it was some blowout, dude. We
yeah,
were
but
definitely
the
in
fear
that.
was there.
You felt it.
I had no fear, dude.
Yeah, whatever.
So look, BYU's really bad. Okay, especially offensively. Malik Murphy, he might come out and have a good game. It's his second start, but he's a liability for them. Luckily they lean on a really good running game. There's a couple running backs nationally where I'm going, I wonder if I wish A&M would have recruited him. One of them's Jonathan Brooks, from Hallettsville, Texas, who wanted to be an Aggie, and A&M took the kid's name from Cy-Fair, who's now
At SMU?
At SMU, yeah, 5-star.
Yeah.
Then they took him, and I get it, but they took him and Amari in that class, and Brooks at Hallettsville was going to flip after Herman got fired. And then the other one is Ollie Gordon, who's running wild up there at Oklahoma State, who was out of Euless and had a massive senior year. That was a guy Howell liked a lot. But Texas is leaning on that running game. K-State, I'm not really familiar with their defense, but I know if you look at their schedule and results, they weren't impressive early. They've started to play impressive football.
Mm-hmm.
I know that quarterback's pretty exciting, the freshman. I'm going to take Kansas State to cover. I think it's a close game. I think still I'm going to go with the Horns to win that one.
Why would you do that?
Because I just think
the cover, man.
I just think
the win is meaningless.
In fact, okay,
We don't want to jinx them.
I'm going to pick Texas straight up. I mean, not straight up, to cover. I just think their defense will contain that Kansas State offense, because I think where you can get Texas is in the passing game, like U of H did. I don't know if K-State's going to necessarily sit there and carve them up, quarterback to receivers. And the K-State defense, I don't think holds up. If this game was in Manhattan, I'd pick K-State.
I'm just using the U of H game as my bellwether for this pick.
Well, and look, you saw what K-State did to U of H a week later.
At Manhattan.
Did you hear Dana Holgerson talking this week about, they were asking him about the 2024 recruiting class, and he basically, his exact words, I believe, were that ship's already sailed and that we're focused on the portal.
He's like, we're done. We can't do anything there.
It's not going well there.
Is he back next year?
I think so, because of the contract.
It's,
so.
All right, let's go to the next game.
All
Did
right.
you tell us yours? I'm sorry, did you say?
I picked Kansas State.
Kansas State, okay.
Yep. All right. Number 12, Missouri at number 2, Georgia. Georgia's favored by 15.5.
Wow.
And
tough.
I don't know.
Number 12.
Obviously, Vegas knows something. I feel like that line shouldn't be that big, but I'm picking Georgia. I feel like they're going to, I don't know. I feel like they're going to cover that.
Georgia's burned me enough this year.
I know.
Every time I pick against them, they just throttle somebody. And then I pick for them to cover against Auburn, and they barely beat Auburn. I don't know what to do with this team.
It's at Georgia?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Missouri to cover, Georgia to win. Because there's something, matchups or something. And Missouri hung very tough with Georgia last year. Someone said they should have beaten them.
Is that right?
It was at Missouri. Georgia has. They've throttled who? Who have they throttled so far? Kentucky and Florida. I'd say they'll throttle Missouri. I don't think they'll throttle them by 15.5. I think they'll throttle them by 13.
Yeah, I'm going to go Georgia. I think I could see them beating them by like 17. And like you said, every time I see that spread, I'm like, there's no way they can beat Kentucky by 21. And they do it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Georgia.
I'm not learning my lesson.
All right, Hannah.
All right, next up, you have number 9, Oklahoma at number 22, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma is favored by 5.5.
Bedlam.
At Oklahoma State, I'm gonna pick Oklahoma State to cover.
Seth going with the lifetime scoreboard over here for Oklahoma State.
Is that
what
they're up
buddy.
against?
This is the A&M Texas 2011 game right here.
Nice. Okay.
So
I'm going Oak State to cover at home. I mentioned Ollie Gordon in that running game. I think OU's a little light in the ass on defense, and I just think not enough teams have been able to expose them. They looked disgusting against Kansas last week. They looked pretty disgusting the week before against Central Florida, and they might have looked disgusting against Texas, but you and Nolan here are scared of the horns. You've got them propped up as the best team since Vince Young led them, and so they did beat a Texas team that I think is just all right. They're all right.
But if Texas doesn't lose this weekend, are they going to lose?
No, they might lose again to OU if OU can get by this week. I don't think OU's that good. And I think Oak State playing at home, and there's something about they have dominated Gundy, and there's something about Gundy just somehow maneuvering the last laugh on them that would feel
poetic,
fitting. I'm picking Oak State to win the game.
Yeah, I'm going Oak State too, man.
Yep.
That's because that's who I want to win, so I'm going to root for them.
Hannah?
All right. David was quick to the draw on this one this morning, but number 5, Washington at number 20, USC. Washington's favored by 3.5.
Man, that feels like free money right
Rat
there.
line. It's a rat line. This is a new thing we've come up with. Everybody on social media says
why
it's
is that a rat
line?
line? I think Washington's going to
trying to get you to take the cheese. It looks too easy.
Oh, well, hey, I'm falling for it. I took it.
It looks too easy.
Is Phoenix okay? Penix?
Is
that his name?
He's pretty good.
Penix?
Yeah. He might win the Heisman.
Phoenix.
Seth, you're the best.
I've only read it. I've not heard.
Yeah.
How have you not heard it?
I don't, because I'm just
they've
like,
talked about him all year.
I don't watch
year.
a lot of Washington football.
But highlight shows.
Do you watch Sports Center occasionally? No, apparently not.
He might win the Heisman, guys.
What's that crazy
Legit.
guy's name?
Penix.
Alex Jones. That's who he is. He
Alex
looks like
Jones.
him.
Alex Jones?
I just thought of earlier when he was talking. I was like, that's
The frogs are picking. They're putting stuff in the water.
We're picking Washington. It's Penix.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Washington.
I'm picking Washington.
Okay.
I'm picking Washington too. And they haven't, it took them a while to get going. Right? They really held off Stanford, and then they barely beat Arizona. But man, USC 7-2. They gave up 48, something like that to Cal last week. They really could be sitting at 6-3.
Yeah,
they're not good.
Yeah,
and they're not good defensively. And it's Washington. I'm going to go UW. This might be. I hope it is. I feel like it'll be close. I feel like Vegas knows something, but I like Washington to cover it. And I hope they humiliate Tri-Fit Riley.
I did too.
Yeah. Give me Washington.
And I hate
it was
that, 'cause
Brisket
there's coaches
Riley.
on that staff I really like, but I want to see Tri-Fit get his ass worked.
Dry brisket, more like.
Who do you really like? Josh Henson?
I do like Henson.
Yeah, I like Henson.
Cliff's there.
Cliff Kingsbury?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the OC.
Analyst? He's an OC?
OC, yeah.
Holy.
Hannah?
Wow.
All right. Number 14, LSU. At number 8, Alabama. They have Alabama up by 3.5.
Oh. Roll
Favorite.
Tide. That's another rat.
That's a tough one.
That's a
That's
rat
not a
line
rat
there,
one,
buddy.
That's tough.
No, that's
Bro,
not.
y'all are sleeping on Alabama. They're a much better team at home, and especially now at this point in the year. LSU has no chance of stopping Alabama's offense. They're just going to run up and down the field on them, I think.
I
LSU,
don't disagree.
Alabama's defense is probably more suited to slow down LSU's offense than anyone else they've played. So I don't think LSU can get Alabama off the field, and I don't think LSU is going to be able to score the points they've been scoring against that defense.
Yeah, I don't think I need you to talk me into it, but I'm going to pick Bama.
It scares me because I saw how much Bama struggled.
You
with
didn't pick
A&M
anyone,
in
Steve.
the first
I'm
half.
taking Bama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, I listened to him pick Bama.
Yeah.
I heard you
He's
talk
the
positive.
he's
I heard
the
you
problem.
talk. Oh, don't stop it.
You know?
I heard you talk positive about Bama. I didn't hear you pick them.
He hears what he wants to hear.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Okay, my wife.
Paige. All right, so Bama was down 20-7 or 21-6, whatever it was, to Tennessee at halftime.
Came back.
They trailed A&M at halftime. They trailed Ole Miss at halftime, 7-6 at home. See, to me, I'm tempted to pick LSU and say maybe I still can get Bama with a field goal win or the LSU win. But I kind of agree with y'all. Well, I think LSU, this will be the best defense they've played since Florida State, maybe all year, and Florida State got after them. That was so long ago. You could tell me this is a different team.
Yeah.
I could tell you, no, they just haven't played a good defensive football team. I think I'm going to go Bama at home to cover.
Okay. Let's go to the last one. It's the big one.
The last one is Texas A&M at number 10, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored by 3.5.
A lot
Well,
of tight
I'm going to do the
lines.
obvious thing, and I'm going to pick A&M here. I feel like
Is that
we're going
obvious?
to. I think we're going to put this
It is
together.
obvious coming from you.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Obvious coming from me.
Oh, Homer.
That we're going to put it together. I think that hopefully you got to hope, right? That's why you're a fan and all
Yeah.
that stuff. You hope that they put this together. You hope that they've tightened up the offensive line. You hope they've dialed in some plays to get rid of the ball quicker. And I think that if we did those things and our defense just does what they do, we're going to win this game. A&M covers. Boom.
I'm going
Or
to
wins. Sorry.
Wins.
Which is a cover.
He clarified that. Thank you. I'm going to pick A&M to win also.
All right.
Because, frankly, if they don't win,
You don't want to live in that world?
I don't want to live in a world where they lose to Ole Miss 3 times in a row.
No.
So I have to pick them to win and I don't care if they lose, then I want to lose the game and the record, and I don't want to be in competition for the pick 6. I'd rather just lose outright at that point.
I'm going to go. I'm going to say this. until proven otherwise, I think A&M going on the road against a better team is they're just living there. They're just begging to lose a close game, like they did Alabama, like they did Tennessee. Until I see otherwise, this will be the first game I don't pick the Aggies in. But I feel good enough about their chances that if you're giving me 3.5 points, I think if A&M loses, it's like last year, 31-28, 27-24. I don't think it's as low as 24-21. Maybe it's 31-27 Ole Miss, and you lose that 3.5. But if you give me that 3.5, I'm going to take A&M because I do think there's a real chance they win this game. I just am in the mode of like, man, I'm not expecting. I'm expecting the usual from them of what we've seen this year, which is play good, make us see where, okay, they're every bit as good as this team. They could win this game. They maybe should win this game, but they
don't make the
that
plays.
damn word, execution, and they don't execute in key moments on the road. There's just too much, like 8 road losses in a row. The Bama game, the Tennessee game, what they did when they went up to Miami. If this game was at Kyle Field, I would pick A&M to win outright.
Yeah.
I would actually feel pretty damn good about it.
Yeah.
This is a lot better A&M team
than last
year's team. And I don't think this Ole Miss team is as good as they were last year, even though they ended up floundering down. They're going to have a better record. But I think last year's Ole Miss team they had it. They just kind of felt like they had it going a little more offensively. So we'll see. I think Ole Miss close is what my instincts are telling me in this one. And I hope I'm wrong. And I think there's a 40% chance I'm wrong here. 45. Like, I think this is a coin flip game. If it was at Kyle Field, I'd be picking A&M all the way.
All right. That's going to do it.
I did convince myself there, though, because I said I do think A&M's noticeably better than they were a year ago, and I do think Ole Miss is not as good offensively.
Yeah.
And A&M is a lot better.
But their defense is better this year.
That's the thing. A&M's a lot better defensively than they were a year ago. It ain't even close. And I don't think Ole Miss is quite as good on offense.
So what did you convince yourself of?
I almost flipped it. I almost was going to say A&M win, but I'm going to be like that guy that says I gotta
see it.
Yeah, if they win this week, you'll probably see me picking them against LSU. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
If they win this week and they go in there in a 4-game winning streak with the confidence that goes with it, LSU's defense can give up a ton of points.
They got to learn how to win on the road, man.
Yeah, it has to start somewhere. Yeah. It has to start somewhere.
Thank you, everybody. Hannah, everybody, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow on the post-game wrap and then on Sunday with the Luchador.